I'm totally not gonna ban it.
Wait, what?
What?
My God.
Fireball! I'm jazzed up.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Exo Moonchild, you generous son of a gun.
Yeah.
For the
Thank you so
5
much.
Cheers to
gifted
you.
subs.
Cheers.
Oh, that is
Cheers.
weird. I'm on 4 screens and I did this and I just see my brain like all of it. I'm like,
You shouldn't see your brain.
Yeah, that's not good.
Are you having a stroke? Do you smell toast?
I smell nothing.
Fast. Face, something else, left side of your arm numb.
What? No, we're good.
See, that's why I don't have a toaster.
Yeah, we're good.
Avoid smelling toast, can't have a stroke.
Yeah.
Also, look, I just want to say,
I'm not sure
don't
that's how
rush
it
me
works.
when I'm in the bathroom, all right? I'm sitting there, pants around my ankles,
We don't need to
literally
know
going
the big
through this
details of
moment where I'm 1v1ing myself, basically, with my worst fears, and you're like, hurry up.
Oh, see, that sounds like something else people do in private.
1v1.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Wow.
Oh, it's like a washing machine thing.
Yeah, like a
Gotcha.
washing machine
Okay,
thing.
okay,
For sure.
we'll leave that alone. Yeah, I guess I used pretty bad verbiage there.
I'm wanting myself. But no, I totally respect where you're coming from.
Yeah, worst fears.
Yeah,
Worst fears every
worst
time I
fear.
poos. Yeah. Every time.
What's the worst fear? Like it's gonna not cinch back up?
Dying on
After?
the toilet. It's pretty
Ooh,
embarrassing.
like Elvis.
Something crawling out. Yep, that's always a good one.
Ooh,
It's
the
not
worm?
Australia.
Yeah, well, no, like a worm.
And meanwhile, I'm over here just thinking if the house got shelled while I was taking a shit, it'd be a real problem.
That
But
would be a bummer.
Yeah,
But I
no.
don't think it matters where in the house you are if you're getting shelled. That's a bummer no matter
So long
what.
as you're not under the shell. Where it's shelled.
No,
You gotta run
that'd
for
be
cover
great.
with your pants around your ankles. It sucks.
I imagine it does. I've never had to run for cover.
Waddle with efficiency.
You just ditch the pants. You go. You basically one-leg it. Pull one leg out, keep the other leg in, and just start running.
Personally, I just assume there should be a spot to dive into right next to the bathrooms.
I'm just. Yeah, there should be.
That would be intelligent design.
Yeah,
Oh.
there should be.
Intelligent
But
design.
personally, I believe
Oh, that's
that
an interesting
it should be a
notion.
war crime to
You know what?
shell someone on a
You
toilet.
called me on it.
It is.
It's because I forgot my watch was left.
Yeah, it probably
You-
is.
I'm pooping.
Why is this
Since one's on your watch.
opening it? And...
Weird.
Vibrates and notifications.
Ah,
All right. So,
Shit's about to get
yes, the foreboding green light.
Yes, the green light of doom.
for boat. Really? Is that how we think? Normally, I think it's the red lights that.
Yeah, I know.
No,
We're
no,
like,
we're
oh,
making
shit's
the
about to
joke.
get real.
Yeah, exactly.
The green light of foreboding or the green light of doom.
Anyways.
if you're in the green
on the
dragon
battlefield,
layer,
green lights usually mean evil magic.
yeah, and
That's
green dragon layers.
That could be true.
Layer.
I guess we'll never know. Yeah, so you wake up in the morning from your refreshing night's sleep, ready to basically hit the city with whatever it is you need to do. I'm not really sure what you guys want to start with, but let me see. Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's see. So, breakfast and stuff is getting ready to be served as usual. The Bard's Tale is actually, not surprisingly, pretty empty. There's like basically 4 or 5 staff that are in there, and there's about 4 patrons who are down in the common room, hanging out. With everything that just transpired the night before with the Baelor invading the town and you guys having to banish it from the towers of high magic and sorcery in the capital, and all the people who were killed, there's tension's running really high at the moment. So
Anyone else sleep sparingly?
Yeah, that's definitely a way you could put it. Like, barely at all. But yeah, there's the stress of, the tension still seemed kind of high. I managed to smooth things over, but the crowd's kind of thin. Not surprising. You know, drinks with, you know, instead of tipping your hat, tipping your head, kind of thing. That kind of stuff gets around.
It happens. I slept fine.
It happens.
Mhm.
You've had that happen.
No.
Then how? You're just lying to me?
A little bit, yes.
Are you trying to reassure me? That's almost sweet.
I was trying, yes.
Look! Look! Godric grew a heart!
Oh, he's always had one.
Just deep down?
Yes, deep down.
Like, compared to his overall
Below his
size.
pelvis, I think.
How
But,
do you know about that one?
Just theorizing.
yeah, I was up worried about my family.
Kill him.
The tavern is dead, but the random stray dogs are quite loud.
Which is weird, because this is a nice side of town.
Someone probably just didn't leash their dog.
Maybe they're hounds. Maybe they're on the hunt for something. Maybe there was, like, looting or something like that in amidst all the chaos.
Tren, we have different ideas of what the nice side of town is.
I feel like your nice side of town is home.
Well,
Is this one of those, like, years thing where you're, like, side of town, but you're really meaning, like, side of the continent?
no. I simply mean there aren't enough books and quiet here. This is a place for adventurers and travelers to stop. Very rarely a nice part of town.
But it is nice. I mean, the floor isn't covered with hay to sop up old stale beer and
That's true.
and stuff. And there's no look. None of the patrons that are here are passed out in their own vomit.
They are cleaning up the bloodstain on the floor, but he's right about the bomb.
I think I've proven my point. And frankly, the bloodstain is kind of our fault.
Right, and what
Well, it's not act of the gods.
And
Act
we're-
of devils.
we're adventurers.
Demons. Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are adventurers.
So,
Heroes.
what the hell are we doing today?
Well, you know, I figured it'd be like most productive days. Might mail a letter, buy some groceries, you know, check in on the fam. And then I'm kind of wondering if she's gonna be here. You and Nora.
Nora.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm kind of excited. But I'm also kind of nervous. I wonder if our connection was like a one-time thing.
Well, whether it was or not, I think it's important to keep in mind that you did monopolize the attention of a dragon.
That sounds kind of predatory. Like monopolize, like taking advantage of an economic system to, you know, push out other contenders and then charge really high prices.
I didn't know you studied economics.
As a bard, I'm a master of many subjects.
You could say he's a what do they call it? A jack of all trades.
Something like that.
Trend Twilight of all trades.
Twilight of all
Well,
trades.
the trades that matter. Anything I can't do is stupid.
Twister.
Hey, that it is.
No, I simply meant that a dragon, an immortal being of pure power, you drew her interest.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Says something for her insightfulness, because she doesn't dismiss me just because I'm a goblin. I don't know why I said it like that.
I don't know why you said it like that to me. I dismiss people for dismissing you.
You didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't
That's
dismiss
awesome.
him. You got rid of him.
Screw them.
Yes, that was unfortunate.
Well, he was kind of a jerk.
It was kind of cool. If you didn't do it, I was thinking about taking his head off anyway.
I don't know.
I
I like to
can't
try-
call it cool, but I will say that perhaps now people will think twice about insulting you.
Yeah, but that's not really why they should, right? Not out of fear of being beheaded and bamfed to a different dimension, pocket in space, however that works.
As long as society's polite, I don't care how that's done.
I don't want people to be forced into it. I want them to make a conscious decision to be a good person, not
Sometimes,
be a rotten person underneath it. I'd rather know if you're a rotten person.
fear is a great teacher.
Yeah. very tyrannical sounding.
Sometimes people have to fear you to become better.
Or they become worse, and they act out of fear. That's probably why we have so many problems with goblins to begin with. You think they're not afraid out there fending for themselves in the wilderness, being killed off or taken advantage of by more powerful creatures? That's besides the point. It's just a topic I'm very passionate about.
Well, you know, if we're going to have a philosophical debate, then perhaps we can ask Locke why he's staring at that bloodstain so intently.
I can't really tell where he's looking sometimes. He doesn't have. I can't follow his gaze. He's like an owl. The eyes, they don't move.
I mean, you can clearly see where Owl is looking.
Well, kinda. It is the angle.
At that, I'm gonna reach down and roll a piece of food.
What are you doing?
Reflecting on my failures. Again.
Oh,
Are you reflecting or are you wallowing?
well, that seems quite productive, yes. I'll sit here and think about all the chaos I caused, too.
Well,
Tren, you should do that as well. Actually, you should just feel sad for being a goblin. Because if he wasn't mean to you, none of this would have happened. And Godric, you break everything. Let's just sit here and talk about our failures. And not try to make the world a better place.
I'll have you know I'm sitting in a chair right now that's not broken.
Well, now I'm just kind of sad.
As I move, you hear.
It's the second time I've passed us through horror.
Well, did you do the spell wrong?
Well,
Because the wizards in the tower, they didn't really seem angry at you. They're like, I think their words were, these kinds of things happen. So it sounds like the wizarding cost of doing business. So wizarding is just fucking
like
expensive.
it might be. Well, it probably is, but I feel like it might be an ends justifying the means scenario. They knew what we are doing is important and dangerous, and they accept the risk because of the possible reward.
I guess. But when you really think about it, like, yeah, getting around fast is great, but horses generally don't transform into demons. Generally, I don't know. Has that happened?
Yes, probably more times than we could count.
Oh, well,
Demons
shit,
like
never
to take
mind.
other
If we
forms.
rode horses, demons anyway, so it's whatever.
I just feel like had anyone else cast that spell, it was simply bad timing. If you did the spell right. The fact of the matter is, if we're not traveling by the waystones, this is going to happen. I'll pull the waystone key out of my pocket and set it on the table. We could find faster ways to travel. Well,
What are the
more
odds
efficient ways to travel.
that in both instances where I transport us in a moment of urgency, something horrific happens to us?
I'd say about the same odds as being chosen to combat Takesis and the dragon orbs.
Well, you said you didn't do the spell wrong, so it's not like you choked under pressure.
You are going to fail no matter what you do. The question is, how do you deal with the failure?
Well, that's kind of depressing sounding, too.
It's not just
Well,
failure. Twice it's cost lives, many lives of innocent people.
Well,
I don't think it'd be productive to feel down on yourself, but I understand where you're coming from. We do have a responsibility to be better, to try harder, to avoid these types of things.
Trying to find a way to. I'm trying to think of a way where I can make it better.
well, like rework the spell, put up some
Spell.
metaphorical...
The spell is what it is.
One idea. I'm just saying, there's a tower of people who kind of do magic. Maybe they have help or advice. I mean, you've never really, you've all done yourself self-taught or remembering, so maybe some assistance from people who have more actively learned might not be a bad idea.
No insult to that tower, but I think Locke has already surpassed most of their spellcasting ability.
That's why I said it's just a thought. I don't know.
Well, it's not. As far as Godric thoughts go, it's pretty good.
Well, maybe it's a matter of perspective. Because he can do magic, and he's really powerful. this great wizard, right? But maybe, maybe you're missing the philosophy behind the magic. Maybe you need some insight, some words of wisdom that can help you put this thing into perspective and do better in the future. I don't know. Sometimes a sounding board really helps, is all I'm saying.
There's an elven phrase, and I don't think it'll translate very well, but in common it would sound something like, with great power comes incredibly huge fuck-ups. So... what?
It's funny.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard similar phrasings. It's basically like when you attempt to do really incredible things, you're either going to be really great and it's going to work out, it's going to be freaking awesome, or you're going to be awesomely crappy and it's going to go horribly wrong, but at least you tried. Would you rather go out being basic?
I simply don't want my actions to have consequences that spill out onto the innocent.
So your frustration is out of guilt and not inadequacy. It's not a lack of control of your power that is upsetting you, but the lives of others.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
But, Locke, no matter what you do, with the level at which we're participating in the world, there's no way you're not going to have an impact. Just you doing nothing will have a huge impact. And I don't believe in just sacrificing people, so I'm not going to say ends justify means or that we shouldn't care. But I'm just saying, no matter what, you're kind of fucked because you're in the game now.
That's a great perspective.
The goblins have a saying, and it's, have you ever tried? Have you ever failed? No matter, try again and fail better. It's not quite as ritzy-ditzy as the elves, but goblins don't get a lot of success, so they have to try a lot.
Honestly, Trin, I thought that was better than what I had said.
Yeah, well, we have a very unique perspective on the world and life in general, especially because our lives are short. I'm like right at my midlife crisis right now.
As far as midlife crises go, whatever that is, it seems like you're doing a good job.
Denial.
Do you deny that you're doing a good job?
No.
What?
I just don't think about
well,
it.
wait, what is a midlife crisis exactly?
It's, see, to those of us that age and die and we're not just reborn, well, maybe I don't have, you think my immortality will work if I die of old age? But a midlife crisis is, oh shit, we're mortal beings, and that ends at some point in time. Oh crap. We don't have all the time in the world, and we've missed out on a lot of opportunities, so we need to seize the opportunities we have, or maybe go back and try and capture some of the opportunities that we missed out on. Which generally doesn't work out all that well.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I zoned out really hard on your face.
Missed opportunities, seizing life, grabbing it.
I heard a quote from a goblin once. I think he said, "No regrets."
No, that wasn't it. Definitely not it. Goblins can spell.
So, Godric, remember way back in your youth, as a raging barbarian and amongst your tribal members.
1 second. So, shout out to Romby, who just donated $100 to the stream and stated that your world leader is gracious. Fuck you. Great tagline. Love it. And he wants to redeem 2 legendary lucks and 2 fail saving throws.
Oh.
Ooh,
Oh,
he's a generous, and
Generous.
benevolent god.
Yeah.
Oh.
Generous and benevolent god.
Well, 2
We're
failed
gonna have
saving
to-
throws.
We're gonna have to meme shop his face over Xerxes from 300.
Yes.
Yes. Very cool.
Thank you, sir. You
Wow.
are.
So 2 legendary
Awesome.
2
Wow.
legendary
Love
lucks
you,
means
man.
that technically we each all have 2 luck dice, but depends how you want to rule it. Just 1 now and then 1 after we spell them all, or
Yeah, no, I mean you get. There's limits to the amount you're supposed to technically, I believe, be able to buy at once. But we can bank legendary luck until it's all used, and then
Go with like a scene-based thing.
yeah,
Okay, cool. So 2 lucks and the next 2 failed saving throws.
2 failed saving
I
throws,
believe that's what it says, right? Yeah, 2 failed saving
2
throws.
automatic failed saving
Yeah,
throws.
2 automatic fail saving throws.
I want everyone to roll for it.
Did he say who
D20s,
he wants those
so
to be
4
targeted
rolls,
against?
highest each roll gets them.
He's saying that we should all roll d20s. The highest 2 people get them.
Okay, someone's gonna have to roll for Terra too.
I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling great too.
Watch this be the 20.
I'm fucked. All right,
That's
I'm
okay.
gonna
That's
roll.
okay.
I'll roll for Tara.
That was okay.
The one time
Terra's
you're not
safe.
supposed to roll high.
That's a 20? What is that?
She got a 7.
What's a 7?
What'd you get?
Matt got an 18.
Mother.
Oh, the highest!
Yeah.
Oh, I'm over here like, no, you did good. You rolled a 16.
Yeah.
Baby!
You rolled 20.
I rolled 20.
You rolled 20,
Oh.
so it's you two.
Yeah!
Well, I got 18. We got to roll off.
Yeah, you guys gotta roll off for it.
All right.
Tara rolled a 7. I rolled a 16.
I'd like to use my inspiration to reroll that die.
I'd like to use my legendary luck. 1! Hey!
Ah! 17! Suck it!
So you two have failed automatic failed saving throws.
Next automatic
Oh,
fail saves.
That's not a good thing.
We did bad.
Well, maybe it'll be a seduction roll from my lover dragon, Anara. She'll be like,
That's how that
"Trim,
works.
give in to my temptation, I'll be like, oh, I don't know why, I can't help myself, take me.
Nice.
Look, as much fun as it is theorizing and philosophizing with people who haven't even lived to 100 yet, we do have some things we need to do, and I have somewhere I need to be.
Didn't you say you needed to go home?
Yes, and it's been every ounce of willpower I had not to leave already. I simply have to walk through a gate.
If I can ask, why are you going?
Where am I going?
Why?
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 And where? Who?
He's going home. I don't know anything else besides, but why?
What?
All right. Well, as a lawmaster, I'm an envoy in some instances. Everything in Eridor is so... what's the word? We're so focused internally on what's going on. We're constantly on the defense against the Drukar, the Dark Elves. We are doing our best to hold together a ruined land that is slowly being pulled into a massive maelstrom of ruination and magic. Basically, every year that passes, our home is being more and more destroyed. And I was one of the first in a long time to open the Waygate and go through to Gwinnett, this continent. And I was here to assess what's going on with the rumors that the cult of domination is moving. I was also attempting to learn more about the world we knew so little about. And I was also searching, well, hoping that maybe the answer to the prayers of the Blood Elves was here. It would present itself to me.
Meaning a way to stop the whole magic-y, drainy, swirling of death.
Well, not precisely, but in a manner of speaking, a way to save my people.
No?
Like a long, long time, an elven long time?
Yes, a
So
long time.
forever?
A long time in Elven, long times, yes. I mean, simply put, we walked past the market district on the way to the tavern, and did you see any other Blood Elves? There is a gateway right now that leads directly to Eridor. It's as easy as walking through for a lot of us. And yet, my people aren't here. Not in any great numbers. We have no interest in leaving our lands, even though they're crumbling.
So it's not that they don't know how to, they're just afraid to leave their house.
No, they're so focused. I have almost a daily anxiety. When I'm out here, that means I'm not defending my home from the raids from the dark sails of elves that are, well, bound to Loth, the Demon Queen. I don't really want to bore all of you with a history lesson, but my people are shattered. We were one at one point.
Like all the elves, right? Like
All of them.
like the woods, the wood elves, the moon elves. I think there's another one in there somewhere, and then high elves.
Well, we were all high elves, really. But yes, in a manner of speaking, yes, that's exactly what happened. There was a war, the War of Sorrows, and we lost a lot of our people to the deprivations and lies of Loth. Those elves have given in to baser desires. They raid, pillage, enslave, make dark pacts. It's hard for us to overlook that. I'm sure you've seen the awkward moments in which I've met dark elves on the continent.
It reminds me a lot of when I'm, well, angry.
Well, you're more of like a raging, annoying fire. My cold rage.
Still a rage.
Point is, there's a lot going on at home, and it's not easy to be away from it. And lately, I've been having visions of dark sails on the horizon, which can only mean that my people are about to be under attack. There's no reason to be given a vision in my vocation, unless it's something important. We don't have visions about the fact that we're running out of eggs. We have visions when the world is about to change.
Are you sure? Not that I'm questioning your visions in and of themselves, but are you sure of their origin? Because it would totally make sense that another party would want to mess with us and disrupt what we're trying to do by feeding you these types of doom and gloom visions.
How can I explain? One of the benefits of the faith that I have given to the Seldarine and Alatrari is that, for the most part, that channel is only open to them. In order for somebody else to slip me a vision like that, they would have had to pass it by an entire pantheon of elven deities.
You sure?
Yes, if I was to be fed false information, then I would lose my faith in them, and as their instrument on Terwin, it's very important that I maintain that faith. They'd protect that line of communication. Or at least I have to have faith that they would.
Well, I guess so, but what does that mean? You go back and just guard the homeland indefinitely and forever, and you never come back?
No, I don't think that that's in my cards at all.
What if we go help you beat up these elves? Is there a dragon tomb with the elves? Was there an elven dragon?
There are tombs for dragons on Eridor, but there are none of these dragon knight tombs. Nothing useful technically would be there, although dragons, especially the silver dragons, do enjoy spending time among us for long periods. You could meet with dragons, perhaps, but I don't know that we would find much in the way of your current quest. And although I do love the idea of watching people as powerful as all of you destroy my sworn enemies, there's bigger things at stake. We can't be distracted fighting battles in the west when we're sorely needed elsewhere. I understand that the mission with the orbs and with the cult and Takesis is far more important than what I need to do, but I could never live with myself if I didn't go home and something happened. Nor do I think that I'm the one instrument that will change the entire war. I simply don't want to distract you from your own duties. It would be selfish. Well, more selfish than I'm already being.
Yeah, because it's not like being down a trusted ally, a powerful trusted ally, and in a time of need won't have a disruptive impact on what we're trying to do. I mean, heck, Locke can barely keep Godric in line, and I encourage him most of the time.
If that's meant to be some sort of passive-aggressive you'll do worse without me because I was a trusted ally, where's Hargraves? Where's this other friend you talked about? The gnome.
I don't know. I haven't gotten a response from Hargraves.
We were going to have Katerina scry on and check on his well-being, but unfortunately she is taking a longer nap. She was quite tired after her, yeah, she did.
I know, she told us. Why are you looking at me like that, Godric?
I'm just looking at you.
Yeah, but it's a different look. Normally,
You haven't insulted me
normally
all
your
morning. I'm
brows are-
confused.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're loud. And I have insulted you, it's just been subtle.
No.
Listen harder.
See, there we go. That feels normal.
I'm in no condition when fighting. No, a few more days.
Well, I don't see that fighting is imminent. Maybe look at it this way. If you've been gone from home for a very long time, you've been gone from Samaria for how long?
80 years now.
Since I
A
was,
long time by your standards, right?
since I was 18.
So what if you went back to Samaria, but only to a field right outside your town? But you never went into your town for some dumb reason.
Like, I'm not allowed to go in.
Oh, you're not. The point is there's simply one footstep away. I can walk over to this waystone, go through it, and I'm home.
You should.
I can see my wife, my child. I
You
can
should do
report
that.
into the council, which is sorely needed. The problem is, it's not that you wouldn't be allowed. It's just that you're not really welcome there. You could go.
Okay.
You'd be confined to a small space and... What?
You wouldn't be allowed, but you're not welcome. You're just breaking and entering then. That's the same thing.
Is it wrong that made me more happy to
Kind
go?
of how they would see it.
Oh, you'll be allowed, but you'll be restrained to a cell and maybe even elven handcuffed.
No, you
If
wouldn't
they make
be...
cuffs big enough for me, I'd like to see it.
The magic.
No,
That's
they
cheating.
grow them. They're like plants and stuff.
That's cheating.
Well, the elves cheat,
Yes, we do.
but they
Why do
call
you
it
cheat?
strategy.
Because winning matters more than...
There's things about elves I like. That seems to be one of them.
Gross. Let's see if we can change.
So does that make me an awful person?
No, you wouldn't be confined to a cell or anything like that. There's just... Honestly, I don't know. I imagine that there's trade established properly in Mendrathis, but I don't think you'd be allowed to lead that trading quarter. I might be able to escort you through, but even so... You have more important things to be doing than trying to convince a council that they need to... A council that's going to say no, that they need to join this war. There's nothing you can do. I've read of your track record with other councils. It's just... We're the type of people on the front lines who kill the monster. Not the type of people that convince entire nations to join your cause.
I mean, it sounds weird, but I mean, you are trying to convince them to help us. What better way to show that we are helping each other than all of us going, since we're all kind of different.
Not wrong, and I'm not here to argue either.
But no, what I mean is, like, Suan is, I don't even know really what its fate, if it's being ruled over by a dragon now. And I know I don't really talk about it much, but that's where my family is. And goblins are struggling to survive everywhere, much less in one of the few safe places it's supposed to be okay for them to live and form a society. But I know I can't go. Well, I could, but I can't.
Why can't you?
Well, I can't go anywhere or do anything until I've completed what I committed to, which is fixing their brain boxes.
It is important. For that to be used as a weapon would be tragic. I motion towards the waystone key at the table. I'm at an impasse. I'm not saying that I want to leave. Some of you are starting to grow on me. Well,
I'm like a fungus.
two of you.
Like that.
well, you never had to grow on me, Trin. I've liked you from the day I met you.
Yeah, without the spores. And then they just continue to grow. You're infected by my charisma.
Sounds like a mimic.
It's kind of like a mimic.
Gross.
Every once in a while, I'll just destroy a coin. Maybe I got rid of them.
That's a scary thought.
They're everywhere.
Wildly off topic. My point is, I don't know how long I'm going to be in Mendrathis, in Eridor, and
Well, that's forever.
It-
Because even short periods of time is like days and weeks to you. If you don't know how long, you're never coming back.
I mean,
right, which is why I'm suggesting that you don't go.
my brain is firing really well today, apparently. Another idea. You said the door is right there. We can come and go as please. So,
In a manner
we
of
go with
speaking.
you. If it takes too long, we leave.
Yeah, like a vacation where we kill a bunch of elves.
That sounds
Like
like
the
a
bad ones.
killing things that are more fleshy than what we've been hitting. Sounds fantastic.
I know Katarina would like it. Magic would probably work a lot better on them than like the undead and all this other stuff we've been having to fight.
Godric, what would happen if you took us to your village? How would they treat us?
Probably going to have to hit someone.
We would have to?
No, me. I'd
Right.
crack someone's skull. Depending on what goes on, I might have to argue to get in, and then after that,
What about all manner of customs and rules we would need to follow that we didn't know about?
you just kick him in the dick.
Just kick them in the dick.
Just show you're
Well,
stronger.
I think he's
Well,
saying he
it's
would
simple.
coach us.
This is what I get for trying to compare my people to yours.
You told him to-
my people are very simple. They value strength and
Just
beating in
Kick
competition.
them in the dick.
So
He
what?
said that.
So what you're
Kick him in the
saying
dick.
is that you're totally too cool being, because you're our friend. You know, we've fought together. We fought demons together now. So you're cool. You're cool with that. But having to stand up to your family and all about us is not okay.
Tren, I would have gladly asked you to come with me.
I'm down. I even speak Elven. I am fluent.
Right, and you're a bard. And if Eridor was to vanish, I couldn't think of anyone better than you to sing their tales. A beautiful city of the mountains, forests filled with magical creatures that Terwin hasn't seen in quite some time.
I bet his songs
Oh,
would be
Gwent
pretty
hasn't.
great.
But you have more pressing issues in Coldwald. I didn't want to interrupt that.
You're kind of pressing. But
Needless
but
to
what
say-
is it with? Oh.
We're kind of talking in circles here. I think... I won't admit who, but someone suggested that perhaps if it's taking too long, you could just come back.
So we go fix their brains, and then when we're done, we come and get you, whether you're willing to or not, and then we murder all the elves, the bad elves that are in the way, and then we can beat the dragons up, and we save the world.
That's terrible.
Then, look, back me up here.
I think we have important business to carry on.
That is not an answer.
And
I
that-
say we just go with him.
I need another bard in here, a hype man.
Look, what I have to do is very important, and it's going to come down to one simple thing. If you're coming with me, you need to listen.
Okay.
I'm an excellent listener.
All of you
What?
need to be able to follow the rules,
Can you write
not
them down?
cause
I
chaos,
just need you to write it down.
and not break things.
But that's a harder one. Well, elves made it. It's fine.
Locke,
Ooh, I know how we'll do it. Right? But Godric has to bite off on it. Godric does not speak to any elves directly. What he does is he tells Locke what he wants to say, and then Locke can spin it into like a nice thing.
look, Godric's an idiot, but he has a conscience. Locke, half the time I'm not entirely sure.
You know
Yeah.
what? I was maybe
He's
thinking about
neutral.
just letting you do your thing, but then you insulted me. I might miss that.
You might miss what?
You insulting me.
Ooh, now he's gonna just follow you because he's bitter.
You want me to keep insulting you?
No, it reminds me what it might be like to have like a prettier, more stupid-looking younger brother, older brother. I guess you're small. It's weird.
Oh, I see. Young, smaller, so younger. It's an interesting thing. Don't necessarily feel comfortable with you calling me a brother, but I suppose that's endearing.
That was the intent.
You don't get used to it.
I would definitely.
It's actually quite the compliment if you consider how you both kind of met and totally did not hit it off. And now you're brothers.
Well, honestly, I assumed you couldn't read from the beginning.
I do struggle with certain words. I
He's
will
not
not.
a
yeah.
strong leader. We're working on it.
Everyone
Giant is so
starts
much easier.
somewhere.
Problem with common is things are like placed weird.
Honestly, I'm surprised. Giant isn't just a bunch of pictures.
Well, it's close.
They're called simples.
Oh, yeah, symbols. How do you spell that, Godric?
SYMBOL.
I told you we were working on it.
It is close. It is close.
Yeah, you could still, pull out the relevant information if he wrote you a pretty letter.
It would not be pretty.
It wouldn't be pretty,
Okay,
but the
so what type of
sentiments.
rules are we talking here?
Well, rules of respect, you're going to be somewhere where even the very ground you walk on is more ancient than the oldest elf there.
Thank you.
The manufactured ground, the walls themselves, the buildings, the architecture, the art. There are magics at work in Mendrathis that have not been replicated on the whole of the planet since they were cast.
All right. Don't break things. Be very gentle. Got it.
Be gentle with the people, too. They're wary of outsiders.
Short of someone spitting on me, I won't do anything.
No, you should probably still not do anything.
Someone better hit him for me.
I don't
I'm
think that's a
saying you
natural part of elven culture to. Hello, Godric. That's not how they work.
It's not, but the Blood Elves are a bit different in some ways. You've seen here the Wood Elves tend to be a bit more quiet, reserved, proper. Blood Elves, they're going to want to challenge you and show off a little bit. Displays of swordsmanship.
What if they challenge me?
Well, you'll lose.
That's
And then
not the
you'll
point.
Then you'll be embarrassed, and then you'll break a rule.
No, if they win, they win.
There's also going to probably be a lot of magical creatures there. A lot of them.
Ooh.
So you don't touch them, you don't make agreements with them, you don't buy them.
What do you mean make agreements with the what?
Just if it doesn't look like a normal person, an elf, a dwarf, a human, because there are people there, there are people that aren't elves there.
Now I'm confused. Why is it a problem that we go?
Well,
Just because we don't know the rules?
Well, like Burrup.
Ah.
He's part of a second caste there. The Dark Elves take slaves, right? And when we defeat them or capture their ships, oftentimes there are slaves on them. These slaves can't go home. Their homes have been destroyed by the Dark Elves. So we create a home for them on Eridor. And they learn our ways and customs and, generally speaking, offer their labor as a form of thanks for what we've done. So there are a lot of other races there. But again, they know our ways, and they've been accepted as one of ours. I'm not saying... It's just hard to explain. We might just have to...
I have to go. Ooh. Sorry, I'm excited.
Question. This is more from me than anything. Has a Goliath ever set foot there before?
Yes. Yes. Not many, but a couple. And honestly, this doesn't come out the wrong way, but most of them not as rescued slaves, but as allies, the Dark Elves. Not many, but a few.
Like mercenaries?
I think mercenaries, I think. Well, maybe like battle slaves, war slaves, something like that. Forced to fight. Some were heavily mutilated. I remember seeing one not nearly as large as you. All of the, the markings on your skin, they were scarred on. Replaced a hand with a pair of blades. More akin to ogres than Goliath, but still a Goliath, I believe. What the Dark Elves do is not pretty. Think of everything you've seen the elves capable of. The magic shields that will protect cities, There are pacts with magical creatures like Unicorn, the deep magics we have after hundreds of years of practice, the swordsmanship skills. Now put all that in the hands of a demon queen that's ruling them. Corrupt all of that. I hope you never have to encounter an actual band of dark elves.
Well, we go and ships show up. I'm kicking some dark elf ass.
I'll enjoy seeing you frothing with rage.
I will defend
Oh, you've
myself.
seen that before.
I imagine like you actually fighting them might be different.
I think it'd look really weird if he was frothing.
I can see it.
What does
Me?
frothing? What do you think frothing means?
Like when you get that really angry part that like a normal thought doesn't work and like spit just starts dribbling out of you because you want to murder, you know, that's that.
Well, never mind. I've never been.
It's like rabid dog.
Well, we fight from a place of calm. Trained hundreds of years to battle the dark elves, so when I start to strike, I know this is where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. There's a peace that washes over me.
That sounds boring.
Perhaps. But there is control in peace.
There is control and rage.
Proved.
What?
Like next time you get very angry and want to charge the dragon in front of us, don't.
No, that's no.
Mm-hmm.
That
I think he's saying there's control and rage by how much power that you can throw at other people. Because when they're dead, they can't fight back, so you have control.
with rage comes power as long as you control it. You have to temper it like steel.
Yeah, you have to. Well, otherwise it consumes you.
Exactly.
It's a risk. Well, I'm not going to argue our mentalities, our philosophies here. All right, fine.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a hall in the city of elves where they have deep philosophical
But the only one of you
conversations.
respectful enough to want to listen to me was Locke.
Wow!
So, I'll just say, I can't stop you. You're all going, but maybe while we're there, you just keep in mind that. What, Trent?
I will be.
I was listening the whole time. Every word that fell from your lips.
All right, Trent. What was
Like
the name
nectar
of what
in
was the
my
name
ears.
of the war that separated the Drakkar from the High Elves?
Oh, I know that one.
The
I know
War
that one.
of Sorrows.
Damn
All
it.
right. All right.
I was going to say the War of Woes, but that didn't sound quite elvish enough.
No, but the War of Woes does sound like a good book title or something.
Yeah, there's the story. Or maybe like an inner conflict.
Maybe
It
storm.
could become a popular title, War of Woes, and then everybody just starts saying, "Hey, have you read the new WoW book?"
Ooh, yeah, and then they'll be reading about elves, and then later I'll be like, oh, by the way, did you know I was totally writing about a bunch of elves? And they'll be like, no way.
There's probably a book on the elven inner strife just called the War of the Woes.
Probably exists, but I don't read it.
So then, when do we go?
Immediately, perhaps?
All right, cool. I'll go grab my bag.
Aren't there things that need to be done in the city, though? You
There's
could
a
always
couple.
catch up. That's a terrible idea. I don't want you to arrive when I'm not there. I'm having a lot of anxiety about all of this.
Godric just reaches over. It'll all be fine. I'll be on my best behavior.
On that note, Godric, there was that omen.
What? Death and following you?
Yes.
I thought we killed that.
No, I don't think so.
I'm sorry. What if that wasn't your dead omen following you? What the hell was it?
Don't know. Maybe you didn't hear exactly what it said.
Maybe. Oh.
Great doom follows me, and it will be the downfall of my people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you shouldn't go back. If it follows you and you take it home,
Weird
Oh.
thought. What if one of us is the great though?
No, I trust all of you implicitly.
Cool.
and that's exactly why. I don't know, I'm going to overthink this really fast.
Well, if it somehow convinces you not to go, you let me know. It's all right.
Oh, no, I'm going. I'm going where you go, and if you go there, I'm going with you, like the fungus I am. That's meant to be
Fungus.
complimentary.
Right.
But
What about Marcus and Bridget? We definitely should check in on them. I mean, they've only been here about how long since we've seen them? A week?
4 days. Maybe.
It's a bit more
Is
than
it longer than that?
It all sort of blends together.
Yeah.
Well, the point is we do need to see them, but maybe it's not as urgent yet.
We can see them on the way back.
You did want to see Nara.
yeah, it's one of those things that I worry that I'm actually more excited about the idea of her and not her. Well, don't get me wrong, she's impressive, but it's kind of intimidating. It's much easier at a dance hall where there's totally like this excuse. I'm calling on him. Am I calling? I'm gonna call on him.
Yes, that's precisely what you're
You
doing.
should have a drink before you.
I
do
need
that.
it. I need
No,
it. What I do
do
is
not
I
drink
need an
before you
excuse
do
so it's not weird.
No, a little bit, not
Here,
like.
I have a perfect excuse as to why it's not weird. You simply message her and you say, Inara, I enjoyed our dance. I'd like to meet before I'm off to Eridor.
That's good.
That is pretty good.
There's nothing you can say to her that she doesn't already know about her
Well, now I just sound
greatness.
boring.
About her greatness. You don't need to flatter her.
Oh, well, I wouldn't do that.
What you need to be is direct. And honestly, she's going to find it endearing if you treat her as if you're both equals.
That makes less sense.
Makes total sense.
What kind of dragon is she, Godric?
It's like a trick.
No, never mind. That makes sense.
What makes sense? Are you guys profiling my possibly soon-to-be lady love?
Yes, we absolutely are.
Yes.
And stereotyping dramatically.
That comes
Well,
with the color.
That's not very
of
kind.
dragons.
You're lucky. Her and I are together already because I might take offense. And I would have to throw my glove, which doesn't even have fingers, by the way.
I so want you to throw that glove. No, I won't fight you. I just think it'll look great.
I'll fight you.
I'm not just-
You wouldn't fight Trump.
Well, wait.
No, he does mind
he
shit.
would win. You're
He
right.
does mind
He
shit.
would beat you. That's true.
He's changed my memory. I don't like it. Stay out of my head.
We'll have to wait, but maybe.
Well, all right. Then it sounds like we all have something to do. I am in a hurry to get home, so perhaps an hour each.
I need to find Marcus. I sent him with a book, and I'd like to see what kind of progress he's made.
All right.
All right. I
Checking up if he did his
don't think I have anything to do.
Yes.
You have nothing to
Boring.
do.
I don't think so.
The forge is pretty decent. Speaking of, I should point out that your sword is of blood elf make. I can't guarantee its freedom once you get to Eridor.
What do you mean exactly?
I mean,
Put
they
it
may
in the
want
bag of
back.
holding and don't let him see it.
Well, no. Like, is there a family there that this belongs to?
Yes.
Irrelevant.
Are they still alive?
The
Irrelevant.
first families are
Not
still
exactly.
alive, for the most part. Eridor is ancient.
If it goes back to its home, it goes back to its home. I understand the idea of something meaning more than its use.
Nonsense. Never waste a good tool.
You mean more to me than your use.
It's pretty useful.
I am pretty useful.
But you mean more than me than that.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, and we can all agree that if Katarina had lost her powers, she still would have been a member of the team, right? We
No
had that
question.
conversation.
It's true.
There are other avenues to power. She can always come back.
It's, well, pragmatic.
But as long as the family is the one that wants it back, and I have no qualms giving it to them.
Alright? I'm just saying that you may encounter a situation in which you have to explain why you even have it.
I bought it.
Yes. You bought it.
I did.
I know.
I have the sale receipt.
Just-
It's in Dwarven, but it's still there.
Didn't you buy it from a Dragonborn?
No, it was a dwarf.
It wasn't there. It was just
I
It
traded.
was a dragonborn.
I know. I definitely did. Oh no! You know this? You're right. I traded a dwarven weapon to a dragonborn for it. Yeah. Sorry.
Right, well, either
Mother's
way,
not so good, you know.
we could spend an hour or so doing whatever things need to be done. Don't eyebrow me like that, Trin.
Dude,
You can take an hour or 5 minutes, I don't care.
I hope it's more than 5.
I didn't mean it like that, you gross. She's not that kind of gal. I don't think. Maybe she is.
Did you know, Godric, that when a dragon and a goblin fall in love, that's how kobolds are made? Anyways, I'll
What?
have to...
Not true! That's not true! Lop, that's not true, is it?
You see
Absolutely.
Godric kind of doing finger sizes like,
That kind of makes sense. Like, that kind of makes sense.
I
see it.
don't like where this conversation's going. I'll see you all later.
Just stand up in the wall.
Alright, Locke, you're going to see Marcus. Check in on Bridget while you're there, see if Connor has anything to report.
That is.
If they're all still together.
That means I might have to get a new sword.
Honestly, you could probably just take this and start killing people with it.
I'm better with a sword, with like 2 hands. I need something with 2 hands. It gets
You
leverage, you know? When you're raging, you don't think about like, oh, I'm gonna swing this way or this way. It's more like, I'm just going to hit you with this really fucking hard.
You say you know about raging to me.
No. It's how I rage. Difference.
Yes, thank you for the lesson. Kobolds. Half dragon, half goblin. Kobolds.
Where did the ears go?
What a what?
The ears.
What is?
Like Trin, he's got huge ears.
Well, dragons don't need ears.
Exactly, but why do kobolds not have ears?
Because dragon genetics are strong.
Shouldn't they make small ears?
Yes. They probably are. But it's just small, you can't see them. Patrick, have you considered you might need spectacles of some sort? Are you maybe short-sighted? See what I did there? Locke?
I did. It was well done.
Yes.
No, I can see fine.
Right. You can.
It's the distance.
All right. Well. All right, I'll see you in an hour.
All right.
I'm going to keep eating for a bit. No, there is something I do want to do, I guess. All right, I'm going to go up to the room.
Okay. Still not sure about this.
Again, I promised I'd be on my best behavior.
Will you tell Burrup that we'll be going back to Eredor?
I can do that.
Thank you. You should already be packed.
At that, you hear loud. Blur up. You're going home in an hour. Boom.
At least he didn't yell it.
That is true.
You know what? I don't have much to do. Maybe I'll just go with you.
Use some company.
All right, let's go. Take that waystone, put it back in my pocket. 'Cause I don't know if it's the type of DM who says you left it on the table 6 months ago.
I was totally thinking that.
All right, so who's going where? Just to make sure.
I'm gonna go up to my room and meditate.
Finally does it.
Really?
Not look.
That's what I was thinking. We have about an hour. So that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I didn't know how long it was gonna take, so I was thinking about doing it now before we left.
Practice your cantrips.
No.
For him, they're cantrips. Can't.
Yeah.
You know, one day, God.
I have Trent is going to go call on Inara.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna
then,
be sending. Trent is gonna send off a few messages.
You're gonna send messages?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not even sure if she's in the city yet.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
And then Locke and Ulthion are going to go meet with Bridget, Marcus, and Connor if they're all together. But it seems like the priority is Marcus.
For me, it is.
Okay. So you're just gonna like wander the city until you hope you run into him, or
No.
what? What do you guys want to do?
Message them. Tell them to meet us at. Oh, there's a rather nice.
We don't need trying to do it. I can.
There's a rather nice water feature. A few streets down that way.
Oh, the chariot.
Yes.
Yes, that was pretty. All right, I'll message Connell. Seems most likely to understand how the magic works. Connell, Thunder Dangerous is back in town. There is a fountain with a chariot near the bazaar. If you're with everybody, meet us there. ASAP. If I say ASAP, does that count as 4 words?
No. It's not.
Interesting.
The magic knows you're trying to cheat.
Magic nose. It's a
It'll
good
get it
t-shirt.
back.
The magic nose.
It'll attach a demon to the message. On Prince.
Stop being so defeatist. It's fine.
We'll see. It's uncanny.
You know, look, I was thinking about your guilt and what happened with the portal. And I don't think it's misplaced. I understand where you're coming from. I'm not trying to convince you we didn't do wrong or whatever. We made the most out of what happened. And we're probably going to have to teleport again.
We definitely will.
So, I think maybe perhaps from now on, if we sense something has gone awry, we stop, investigate, and figure out what to do next first. Might be a good idea.
I felt our little tag along the whole way. Just didn't know what to do about it.
Alright. Well, and you know, Elven Waystones aren't unlike your teleportation circles. They're just permanent and clean. Maybe once you've traveled through one, you can read the sigils and maybe learn something new.
Maybe.
It'd be worth it. The only difference is you have to unlock them.
Yeah, we've done it before. I did have some.
Wait, you've done it? You've unlocked a Waystone? Where?
It's a forest.
An Elven Waystone.
We came across it. It's a little fuzzy.
Well, if you figure out what the hell you're talking about, it's kind of important information for me. I have
Torn
one
apart
key.
by a lesson at a certain point. I think some of my memory might be affected.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of easier ways to defeating Leshen than confronting them head on.
Yeah, well, you've met us. Head on is what we do. Speaking of head on, you're formally trained.
Yes, in many a way.
I'd asked Godric, and I've attempted to in some other times, but he doesn't fight with any kind of real martial.
No, he's mostly just learned the best way to swing the thing in the stance he's in, but
There's no real form to it.
it's
It's
impressive,
mostly
but it's ugly.
crush this, break that,
Right.
dodge this if I see it coming.
Did you have a question, or are we just about to start making fun of Godric a lot?
No.
Okay.
Godric is a fine fighter.
I
You've
suppose.
seen it.
He's a strong.
But it wouldn't suit me. He uses brute strength, and I don't have much of that. I have weight. I suppose that counts for something. I need to learn how to wield a weapon. It's a flaw. If I'm going to lead a life of this sort of
You already know how to wield a weapon. Your mind is quite powerful. You know when to cast a spell and where to put it. Do the same thing with a dagger. Hold it in reserve, and just when they look the other way, or blink.
Well, I know how to stab something. Fairly intuitive,
Sort of.
but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right, I simply mean you already have all the tools at your disposal. You just need to put them together differently. Your mind is very powerful. Or your soul, automata, whatever it's doing it. Point is, placement matters. I don't think you need to be given proper sword fighting lessons. I think you just need to be given a little bit of confidence.
No. I would like sword fighting lessons. I don't need them,
All right.
but I want them. I have the time. Just like an elf. To learn what I want to learn and choose what I choose later.
Oh, see, that's the funny thing about picking up a weapon is you never have enough time to learn it. The second that blade enters your hands, you're inviting the world to test your skills, even the ones you haven't learned yet.
Perfect.
You're up for the challenge? I'll show you a thing or two.
First, we'll need to find something that suits me.
So Marcus responds, "Oh, I had heard that you were back in town. I'll meet you there. Let me gather my things from the circle."
How did he do that?
The response.
Well, I sent the message to Connor. You must be learning something.
Oh, did you send it to Connor?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought
you knew. Yeah,
Oh,
I sent it to Connor.
I heard Marcus.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine.
I sent two of them. One to each of them.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, Connor responds. He says the same thing then.
Okay.
In the exact same way.
He sounds more youthful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He suddenly sounds more
He said it
youthful,
exactly
a
how
lot less
Marcus told him to
serious.
say it.
Yeah.
Got rid of that orc underbite. Apparently.
He must have shaved his tusks.
Dental
down.
work.
Yeah.
Dental work. Yeah, they repaired one of those fucking tusks. Speak
Okay.
fine.
Well, they've responded.
When we have more downtime in the following days, I need to learn how to wield a weapon properly.
All right. Does it have to be a blade? Would you be opposed to smashing somebody with that staff?
It's not quite as effective as I'd like, but maybe we could modify the staff to have a blade at the end. Sword staff of sorts.
Look between your staff and my glaive. Yes, of sorts.
Well, a glaive and a sword
Why are you
staff are
laughing?
different.
Funny.
Is it?
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, I mean, a glaive is simply basically a sword attached to the end of a staff.
But they're different.
Yes, mine's better.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Maybe a dagger or
I have a dagger.
something. We'll see. I don't think it's a terrible idea. You should know how to defend yourself in any situation. So you're trying to teach Marcus?
I'm simply curious, and I think it should be something I aspire to take on an apprentice. Past knowledge.
Sure. Might be worth finding yourself before you take such a task, but I can understand the need to do so. In a way, you're creating your own progeny. Well,
So you guys just want to wait for the time to meet up with Marcus then?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So Marcus responded to the Konar, and they're going to meet you there. What messages did you send to Inara?
Oh, I'm on the spot. I'm getting all anxious. 'Cause
Yep.
I'm in front of people. I did the little letter.
I said, Honora, I heard that you might be. What turn are we in? I'm losing my train of thought. I'm not casting right now. I'm planning ahead. Where are we? Where am I? What? No.
You're in the studio
No.
playing D&D.
Where am I in the world? Navarre and Ari.
United States.
Quit messing with me. Where
You're
am
in the
I?
capital of Ilithir, Yavalari.
Javalari, that's it. So I start casting my spell, and I say, Anara, I'm in Yavalari. This is Trin. I was reflecting upon our lovely dance that we had a little while ago, and I heard that you might be in town, and I had hoped I might get the chance to see you.
Okay, sounds perfect.
And then that flutters off.
You
And
immediately follow with, you didn't respond.
You didn't respond. I'm desperate. No,
You up?
Are you up?
yeah. Go total cringe.
You like?
Every morning, just start being like, "Good morning, babe." You know, just total cringe it up. No, I another letter pops up.
Put scheming like a sewing circle over there.
And I start writing.
I'm gonna separate them.
Yeah, do it. Dear Drendul, it's
Who?
Drendul. It's a character that might not be on the top of your mind, but my dad. From my backstory.
Oh, why didn't you say like dear dad? To help
Because
me.
I'm removed. Because I'm
Dear father.
dear father.
Dear father.
We have a very contentious relationship. That's why. It's me, Garkskid. I know we haven't spoken in a few years, but I heard about some dragon tyranny and was concerned for your well-being. Please respond. I hope this message finds you well.
But you sent that message in Goblin, so it's not like...
Papa! My dear Papa! And then, just because I know that might take some time,
Sometime.
I send another message. Dear Mother, this is Garkskid. I've written to Father, but I don't know if I'll hear back, so I'm concerned for your well-being, hearing of the activity of dragons. I know we haven't spoken in a while, and for that I'm sorry, but let me know if you're okay.
Okay.
Garkskid. Okay. And that one folds up into a little gold birdie and flies off. Because that's how my message spell works.
Okay. Any other messages?
Not yet. No. That's it. And then I walk over and I hop up on my bed and I kick my little feet as I think about Anara, waiting for a response. My little goblin feet.
Remember to shower.
Shower.
He's like, what's that?
I bathe in the dirt. Gives me a
We're gonna address all
rustic
that when we
look.
come back from break.
Oh!
What? You're in a scene. You're in a scene.
We're back,
Pull
everybody.
it together.
Shape up.
So you walk through the streets. Takes you about 5 minutes or so to get to the statue, the chariot, in the kind of open promenade space. And there you see Marcus and Colnar both kind of chatting it up with one another. They're both kind of standing near the fountain, and it's filled with there's maybe a dozen or so people who are kind of just out here enjoying the sun and the open space. You hear a lot of people discussing basically the events of the demon and the nature of what happened, and it becomes clear that nobody has really told everybody exactly what happens, but there was some damage. People were lost, and it's very upsetting. And there's a lot of discussion now about whether or not, if these are going to be the kinds of problems they have to deal with internally, if they can, fight the dragons at the same time, or what other problems might arise. So, yeah, you tell them all
Work
about
in
it.
the chat.
Tell them all about
She's
it.
opinionated.
She's
She
trying
is
to
opinionated.
bully our kobold.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she did finish eating, so.
Oh. Pooping time.
I will take care of that.
But either way, so you guys
She
kind of
said
walk
yes,
over
she
to
will.
him, and Marcus sees you. He just waves, you know. So yeah,
That's that thing.
yeah, that's what she wants.
All right. Well, Marcus, Connor.
Where's everybody else?
They're all up to something.
You
Katarina's
and
sleeping
Ben-
off.
Katarina's
She's sleeping
Here
off the
too?
fight.
bummer.
Why?
Either way, I wanted to see her.
Why?
Anyway, don't worry about it. He just evades the topic real quick. Changes the topic. Anyways, Connor's here with us.
Connor!
Connor!
Hey!
How's it going?
There it is. That's the accent I didn't want to have to read.
Hey,
Oh,
could you
no.
swing by the studio for like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I need you to act on see.
Yeah. 10 minutes, I promise.
Don't we touch bases? See if there are any developments on your end. I know it's only been about a week, but we do have some updates.
Find some new ball techniques. Like that.
Right. Well, that's not quite what I meant.
What do you want here to talk about weapons with me?
Well, I was more wondering who you contacted since you got here and what Bridget has learned. Where is she, by the way?
She was around here just a moment ago.
Well, last time she was left alone, she was kind of kidnapped.
Yeah.
Oh, she was here. She must have wandered off into one of the market stalls. I don't see her. But I assure you she is around here somewhere.
Right.
I assume it's highly unlikely that she would be kidnapped twice, and then once in one of the safest places we're supposed to be, according to all of you who sent us here.
Fair.
We have an exceptional way of finding danger.
It's true.
So I've heard.
Or bringing it. Anyhow.
We'll let that one
Have you
die.
brought danger with you this time?
Not currently.
It was dealt with. I'm responsible for the drama from yesterday.
John, what do you speak of?
Haven't heard the rumors?
I've heard many rumors about the group. I can't say I've had my ear to the ground too much.
Brought a demon with us into the city.
What does this have to do with what we're talking about?
Nothing. Simply making small talk.
Magic brings demons sometimes. Never cast a spell, alright, Connor?
Speaking of casting spells, how's your progress in that book?
The progress it's slow. I've been spending a lot of time at the Circle in their libraries learning about the ancient histories of elven magic. I believe they offered to sponsor me as a neophyte, but I'm not quite sure that that's what I want. I would still very much like to visit the Academy of Sciences and Engineering in Cornwall before I dedicate myself to such directions.
Well, we'll be headed to Cornwall soon.
Perhaps you could tag along. We'll have to talk to Bridget and everything. Not that she needs to make the decision for you, but we should all work together.
Well, she's been against it since I've made it clear, and well, at least going on my own.
Right.
And it would require staying there, which you have important things to do, so I wouldn't want to tie you down in Cornwall while I explore the academy there.
No, but we could go along with you and maybe put in a recommendation. Eventually.
Maybe. It's possible.
Oh,
Either way, is that really all is that what you wanted? Just to see how we're doing, settling in?
Or less.
Our quarters are lovely. They've given us a nice place to stay.
Good.
Better than sleeping in the woods.
Trollocs on the loose.
Yeah.
Trollocs on the loose and hags and all the other evil things like ghouls and vampires.
Right.
It has been quite restful, I will say that. For sure. I have enjoyed it. The food is pleasant as well. Although Moon Elves have this fascinating aversion with not eating meat, and then I am missing diet.
Yes, it's strange. The Blood Elves do not share the same affectations.
I think they understand the good of calories and such, especially when preparing for war. But the magic
Well-
helps supplement a great deal of that. It's just I miss the visceral, very tangible, way you chew into meat versus fruit and other goods. Although when I do come down where you're staying, I can get my hands on veal and other products. So
Well, we also have some other developments. I don't know that there's much that you really need to know, but we wrapped everything up fairly nicely in Midheim. And I don't know what else is important. Lock.
Just want to check up on everyone.
well, I mean, the city's abound with rumors. Everybody's ready for war with the dragons.
It's very likely. Mendrathis has moved, so they're at open war now. Mendrathis is still fighting on multiple fronts. We'll be making a couple stops. Homeworld will be one. First, we're going to my homeland, but then Homeworld and perhaps even Fenrolden at one point. Oh, actually, on that note, we ran into your old,
You mean my wife? My
Reinhardt? What's his
My
name?
broken heart?
Bernhard?
Broke.
Yes, that one. He was a little worse for wear. He lost a fight in those ruins he said he was going to. Old Vanheim. But we managed to get him out of there, and hopefully he's healing up. We've paid for his room and board for the length of his stay while he recovers.
You say worse for wear. How badly?
Godric would say he was fucked up.
Accurate.
Which, by the way, I am sad to report that Godric is doing absolutely fine.
To be expected.
Yes. You do need to watch out for the Cult of Domination or any form of Dragon Reasonableists, Church of Bahamut, etc. Right now, it's probably best if you just stayed clear, then you don't even have to make the decision of whether or not to trust whoever it is that is calling. Are you going to continue to protect these two, or will you be moving on?
I have a little bit more to learn. I'm not completely finished with the weapons training I've started. But perhaps if they find their path moving on shortly, I'll head on my own as well.
Right.
Unless they decide to go to Blood Elven, I might track that direction. Beat that town.
You can simply go down to... you can still buy meat in the markets here. It's not outlawed. The Wood Elves just don't eat it.
Right. If I'm gonna be here, I might as well sample the cold.
Right. You've never gone to, like, a restaurant where they're serving something from a faraway land? Right. I know for a fact here you can get Leorin lamb.
You must define far away land. Because from here, Mendrathis is far away.
That's true.
Depending on the southern regions, like halfling ale, it's delicious. Delicious. It's great. It's very expensive though.
You love drinking then, Marcus?
Oh, the halflings. From what I understand, what they serve and send to us is very light, and it's very sweet. It's very good, but it's also very expensive.
That's got it, which they
Did you just get censored by the dog?
Bork's in the chat.
Bork over here saving us from profanity.
Watch your profanity.
It wasn't that bad and all that, and plus a quick cantrip from the person we were drinking with fixed all of it.
Right. Well, probably, I don't know. It's not my place to parent any of you. You know what we never fucking did? Marcus? I don't remember, but I don't think we ever told your father that you and Bridget were fine.
That will be quite upsetting to him. A
Wait,
loose end, some people
No,
would
I
call
did
it.
send him a message, that's right. I was rude.
But has he responded?
No, he has not.
It has only been a few days. Ultimately, what, 4 days?
Yes.
1,000 miles or so? Maybe he'll get it today.
Funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, what are you doing to keep busy? Bridget must be going absolutely insane.
Oh no, Bridget's been with me in the tower. She's been spending a great deal of time in the libraries, as I understand it, with me.
Studying?
Yes.
What does she study?
I don't know this or that about the Dragon Keep and the lore around the Dragon Knights.
Oh.
It's
If
best
she
you
learns
ask her,
anything-
when she's around here somewhere, and he's Bridget! Bridget, where'd you go? After a few moments, she responds. She comes out wearing elven clothes, actually.
Wood elven clothes?
No, not wood elven. Moon elven.
Okay.
You know, they like their very kind of brightish, very bright. I don't want to say pastel. It's not necessarily the word I'm looking for, but moon elves like bright blues and silvers and stuff like that. So she comes out wearing a form-fitting set of tunics, more or less. Something a little bit more in line with her more adventurous nature than that of
little
a
utilitarian.
utilitarian, as opposed to that of a lady or an elven lady in the city or within the lands of Ulthion. She kind of walks over. She has a bag, a shoulder bag. She's kind of putting some documents and slipping a book in there. I go, well. That didn't take long at all for you to come and check up on us, did it?
It's quite coincidental.
Well, I see 2 of you here. Did the other ones die?
Yes.
Especially that more brutish fellow.
Yes, he actually snapped and killed them.
He killed them.
Yeah. It's believable, isn't it?
Your sense of humor hasn't changed, as in it hasn't gotten any better since the last time we spoke.
Yes, well, it does take hundreds of years to perfect, and it will take about that long to procure taste for it as well.
I don't have that kind of time, nor would I want to. Just to
Marcus,
get ahead of what you were going to say.
Marcus says you've been studying about the Dragon Keep and such.
Yes, well, since you slammed this whole, you have this, destiny to be this great person in this lost lineage, I decided I might as well at least attempt to figure out who those people are, who my ancestors are, and how they got to the positions they were. Been learning everything I can, brushing up on ancient techniques when it comes to metalworking and weaponry, learning everything I can about Dragon Keep. There are some scant and few records, and with the help of Kavir, I was able to track down some of them. I learned that there are many protections and magical wards against scrying and so on and so forth, still built into the keep, supposedly. And that's more or less the forge that's there was... My ancestors and the knights found it necessary to make their weapons there for the fight against the Kises.
Interesting.
Not exactly sure why or what's there, other than until I get inside.
Is there a theory as to exactly where?
To where inside the forge? Or where the forge is?
Where the forge is.
Well, it's inside Dragon Keep, in the Blue Mountains.
Right. Well, Blue Mountains aren't exactly small.
What is it called? What's the Ronhamian name for it? Heimdall? Mount Heimdall? Somewhere there.
Oh, that's right.
It's
the
hard
Horn
to
of-
miss.
The Horn of
The
Heimdall.
Horn of Heimdall,
That's
yes.
right.
Somewhere
And
deep
now-
in there, in one of the lost and many winding and crushing deep ravines, is said to be the Dragon Keep.
Right. Well, the cult is moving. Open war is here. So, stay safe, and more than anything, I'd suggest prioritizing yours and Marcus's life above anything else.
Well, I heard rumors that a very large green dragon has been seen in Ilithir. Anything to do with our old friend Riven, possibly?
It's highly likely, yes.
Yes.
Circling around. Looking.
Looking for a weakness, a way in. I don't know, maybe something like a demon coming through with a teleportation spell that weakens the city's defenses? Possibly? Anything like that? I mean, we wouldn't know anything about that, though, would we? Because we're great adventurers and powerful.
Some of us are.
I know which ones you are. None of them are here right now, but I know which ones they are.
You know,
Anyways, it's enough yanking your chains.
Marcus was quite interested in seeing Katerina. I look right at Marcus as I say it.
He's like, goes back down, looks at his feet, kicks the ground a little bit. She's like, yeah, well, you know, young love and such, an obsession. Either way, lust most likely. She is young and attractive, and she's interesting, and she's been many places that he hasn't. Wouldn't surprise me.
Well,
You know, Ilyana suggested that we should head to Dragon Keep and be there. She assumes it's one of the safest places we could be.
you could get inside.
Getting
Yeah.
inside isn't much of an issue as long as we know what magic spells are being used.
That's true.
The forge itself is a whole separate issue which the keys are required to enter based on what I've learned. But being there, setting up camp there, and beginning to work on what's needed to make a workable fortress by definition again is, I think, a separate issue.
I have a theory. Actually, it just came to me. Do you know who built the Dragon Keep, or how old it is?
No, nobody really knows. It has to be at least as old as the Dragon Wars and Takhisis' first rise to power, if not older than that. But that's the sort of documentation that is kind of missing, to be able to fill in the gaps there.
Right, but what you have found was it written by the elves.
Very few written accounts, yes, hand accounts. Second-hand accounts, even then. This person said this person that passed it on to this person who was there. Apparently, the Dragon Knights were exceptionally protective over Dragon Keep and how they got there and where it was.
They've been pretty secretive about all of it.
Yes, makes sense.
It's not a terrible idea, actually. Perhaps setting up as a base of operations.
If my guesstimations are correct based on what Kavira has helped me with, translating and such, there might be a teleportation circle there.
Right, or even a waystone if it's as old as it could be.
Possibly. The elves... It's possible, and it makes sense. Transport as quickly as they did, the resources they needed, the magical assistance that they needed, plus dragons. You couldn't be far off. There might very much be a waystone there.
It's a very good point.
I mean, the
Perhaps-
elves made the dragon orbs, correct? And then I'm sure it has to have been elven magic that helped assisted in the crafting of the dragon slaying weapons that the forge is capable of producing.
Well, let's bring it up to the rest of the group. See if they,
I mean, right, Flock, or am I wrong? It's as good of an assumption, I think, as anything else. It's either a teleportation circle or an elven waystone.
There must be. It's the safest way to avoid being tracked.
I mean, we can drag Connor along with us. We know he's not doing anything, and he's good for coin as long as we throw it in his direction. She's been spending all of his time with the weapon masters, getting his ass handed to him.
Well,
Listen, don't take it personally. When an elf trains on the sword for 100 years, it's not a problem. You're not the only one.
there's a reason we're better than you, and all of it. Well, I mean you. Sorry, I don't mean you specifically. I mean you generally, like all of. That's not helping either. The point is,
Did you know that most elves are supremely good spellers? Almost eidetic memory spelling. It's ridiculous.
yes, I suppose I could brag about that more. Well, I do quiz Godric on how to spell things all the time.
That's not fair, though.
Why is that not
Try
fair?
quizzing the Warforged on how to spell things.
How to spell things?
Yes.
See what I did there,
I'm
Locke?
only 10. Leave me out of your quizzes.
Anyways, we're all doing quite well.
Good.
And if war is coming to Ilithir, then it probably is best that we move somewhere else other than be here.
It's true. I suppose. Just don't know if it would be safe for you three to go alone.
I wouldn't assume that we would go alone. I would request some assistance. Maybe we might even hire some adventurers to go with us.
Or
I
Silver
think-
Dragon.
The dragons have their own problems, probably, to deal with at the moment, don't you think?
I think, it depends on if they see this as a problem yet or not.
I'm sure. I'm sure Nara would be able to get us there. But whether or not she would stay, maybe for a time?
Right.
Possibly.
Not long, though.
I haven't seen
Just a
her since
thought.
I've been in the city, though.
So then, should we assume that if we do return and you're not here, perhaps you've gone to the Dragon Keep?
More than likely.
If you learn anything new, please pass it on to Ileana or Kavira.
I could arrange that. Sure. Sure.
Marcus,
Yes?
if you would prefer to wait for us to return and travel with us to Cornwall, stay.
He does this slow turn towards Bridget and looks at her, and she's like, well, we already discussed this. So go here, we'll go there. Wherever you go, I'm going with you.
Step in the right direction, I think. Better than just saying no.
She's like, I would love to go. Don't get me wrong, especially protected by you all. But at the same time, I don't quite think I'll be able to give it the due justice it deserves that I've been able to spend here, for example, in the Circle. I would have to spend days there, possibly. I would like to explore the city, see what it has to offer, and experience the culture, not just walk by and take a memory picture in my mind and just, oh, that was great when I went to Cornwall, remember? You know, it might be a life-changing decision. Might want to apply to learn there.
Well, you'll have to be there to do that.
That's true, but I'm not quite sure if a short trip there is the right time to do so. The city's not going anywhere, right?
Well, it's not supposed to.
Someone is upsetting spaghetti tonight.
What is going on with you? Oh my gosh,
She wants to say
hi.
hi. What'd you do?
I don't know.
What'd you do to her?
He let her number 1, but he didn't let her number 2.
Maybe.
Oh, she did. She did everything.
Oh.
Lovely.
Either way, just go put her in the room then.
Let her know, let her go again.
Hmm?
Did she get fed?
Yeah, that's what led to the one
She
and
wants
two.
another snack.
Just give her a snack. She'll be fine.
She is. She walked you
Yeah,
around
let
with
her
snacks.
bully you into
Dogs.
a snack. Setting the precedent. German shepherds in particular.
Yes, German shepherds in particular. And then he teases her immediately, ladies and gentlemen. Pretends to throw the snack. What a fucking monster.
Well, gaslighting people's not okay, so
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah, so dogs.
I threw it. I threw it.
the snack and just
Uh,
went into a closed door.
Alright.
I think I see what you're saying, Marcus. The plan is that Cornwall will be there. Yes, going to school during a time of war is a weird priority to have. So, for now, you're an adventurer.
So it seems. She fucking jabs Bridget. See? I'm an adventurer. I started, Marcus. You're not even supposed to be here. Should send you back to father.
Hold on. Take your stance real quick. As if you were holding Halberd.
I'm sorry, did you say stance or stats?
Stance.
I thought you said stats. I was just like, that's a really meta way to approach this real quick. Connor, pull up your stats real quick.
On a scale of 1 to 20, how strong would you say you are?
Okay, stance, gotcha. Sorry,
Right.
you said stats.
Stance isn't that bad. Your weapon's a little short compared to most of the spear weapons you'll fight here. Well, there's your problem. No, there's a problem. You're on the balls of your feet. You're ready to strike.
Bridge is like,
Elves were timeless. Have you had a problem where they just seem like they're bored and staring at you when you're supposed to be sparring?
Yeah.
So they can wait as long as they want for you to strike. We don't sleep as much or necessarily eat as much as you would have to. don't let them control the timing of the dance. You start the fight. See if that helps prevent you from getting your ass handed to you. Also, fight the younger ones. But that's it.
Right. Well, Marcus and I are expected back at the circle, so we'll be heading to the towers. Or what's left of them, I should say. See
They're
what we
fine.
have there.
They're fine.
It's not what I heard. Either way. It was nice seeing you all. I will pass on word to Ileana and Kavira if we move on to Dragon Keep. I very much would at least like to go and explore the keep and see what is there and see what's true. See if it's even still standing.
Honestly, I think that's a fantastic idea. If you do leave ahead of us, we'll probably meet up with you fairly soon.
All right.
Is there anything you need from us? Perhaps funds or anything like that that might help?
No, I don't think so.
Keep working on that book.
I'll take it with me. It's a dense read, for sure. It's a dense read.
It is.
It's dense.
Worthwhile.
Like, very dense. Like, I would rather hit myself with it sometimes.
Well.
No.
Or other people with it. He points at Bridget.
Just thought of something. I reach into my bag and pull out my medallion of thoughts.
Mm.
If we're having possible issues with trusting people, maybe you should take this, Bridget, and I'll give it to her.
Okay. So she takes it, and, what's it do?
Well, you can wear it and utilize it to read the surface thoughts of other people, figure out if somebody's trying to trick you or lead you down the wrong path.
Well, I'd never assumed that I would have that problem here within the city limits, but you do never know. Either way, I guess I'll take it.
Just in case.
Is there a command word or anything for it?
Yes, I'm trying to think. Entarthal.
Alright.
It's an elven word.
That makes sense. It didn't sound like common. Either way.
It's quite a useful item. So
I can
or
see
if
finding use
if
for
it
it.
better suits you to trade it or sell it, if that's what you need to do, then that's fine. It's not alone.
Right, well, we'll be on our way then. I'll hear back from you soon. And Bridget and Marcus start walking towards the Towers of High Sorcery and Magic. Leaving just Konar there.
I'm gonna tap you on the shoulder.
Please don't touch me.
Appreciate the advice. If I can go find a younger elf to deal with. And as I tap you on the shoulder, I'm gonna slip the little tiny wooden bear.
Alright.
Noise.
No, he does know I saw him do that, right? It's not exactly subtle.
I don't think it was meant to be subtle.
A Ravelar might like that, though. Put it in my bag.
How old is your son?
Not particularly old. Why?
Like
Curious.
100 and something.
Curious. Indulge me. We've hardly spoken of anything other than what we need to do for the last few weeks.
Roughly the same age as you. Well, as you claim to be, I should say.
I don't know how old I am. I've only been conscious for 10 years.
He's 12 years old.
He's young.
Yes, quite.
So do elves just kind of start to see aptitude on things immediately, or does that take a while as well?
No, it absolutely takes a while. I mean, we're naturally smarter, faster, more graceful.
Go on, don't put yourself some more.
But the elven children mature roughly at the same rate as a human would. We just expect a certain amount of experience and age before fully entrusting them as adults.
Is that your only child?
Yes, sadly. Generally speaking, a family would have up to 4 if they're lucky, but
You seem to be away more than at home.
not really. It's the first time I've ever been on the continent. It's just strained. I don't know. Nothing's wrong between me and Earthwind, of course. It's just both of us are quite devoted to our own causes. And love is a little different amongst the Blood Elves. Arranged marriages are very important.
I don't understand any of it, so I'll take your word for it.
Fair enough. Well, oh, if you're trying to teach Marcus, just tell him. Suggest he reads a book, you just act like somebody who's pretending to care. Tell him, I'd like to train you, Marcus.
We'll get to
Are you afraid he'll say no?
that. No. I want him to... He's torn, I can tell. Does he want to go and learn to be an engineer, or does he want to practice magic?
They can be the same thing.
Sometimes.
I've seen, what are they called? Arcanists? Artificers. I've seen artificers,
I'm a pretty good example of artifice.
That's true. That's true. But he could learn a lot from Cornwall. Now is not the time, and I think going to the Dragon Keep is a good idea.
So this time you see Trin catching up to you, coming down the street waving.
Try.
Oh, hey! Oh,
Well,
so far.
did you meet her? How did it go?
I didn't meet her.
What?
I'm waiting anxiously, counting the moments.
For a reply.
Yeah.
You didn't ask around about her or anything?
Well, no, not in particularly. I wasn't really sure how to go about it. I don't know how.
You say, hello, Ileana. Have you seen Inara around? How
Oh,
could
no, I
contact
didn't
her?
want to bother Ileana.
Why not? She's an ally of ours.
I know she's an ally, but it was more of like a want and not like a need. It's not like it's mission imperative that I speak to her. It's more of a peace of mind kind of thing.
All right.
But how about you? Did you find the children? The whippersnappers?
Yes,
The
we did.
youngsters?
Actually, just missed them. I have a secret
Aw.
for you.
What?
I have a secret for you. Marcus.
Well,
has-
come over. Come over.
No, not that kind of secret.
No,
I
no,
just.
come over.
All
If
right.
it's for me, Locke can't know.
Okay.
Locke, don't listen!
Stand over you and lean down so I can whisper into your gigantic goblin ear.
Yeah, I radar this shit up at you.
Marcus has a bit of a fascination with Katarina.
Fascinating. I mean, he has a little crush. Like he likes her.
Yes, possibly. Not quite like your crush on Inara, but still.
Are you sure? Maybe
good.
he's just bashful. I can be bashful sometimes.
Okay.
He's kind of a. He's smart, but I don't think he's very people smart.
He's young. Maybe another 100 years or so, and he'll be a bit. Oh, wait.
Dead.
Shit.
He'll be dead.
Do you figure all of that out in so little time?
It's hard. It's trial and error.
Based on my
And
own
heartbreak.
observation, they don't.
And heartbreak
Makes
and
sense.
love.
I hear humans constantly saying life is hard. I don't think that
Yeah.
should be a normal saying.
Well, you think life is hard for humans? Cut that in half and you got goblins. We're high speed.
Fair enough. Well, Marcus and Bridget did suggest perhaps that they might be interested in finding the Dragon Keep.
Oh my god, there were so many qualifiers.
What?
Perhaps they might maybe sort of kind of be interested in looking for the Dragon Keep, maybe.
They're going to look for
Yes.
the Dragon Keep while we go.
If it
Do
were an
whatever
elven,
it
would
is
have
we're
been
doing.
one way.
What if they get murdered by bad dragons?
Well then, We'll have to overcome some more hurdles.
That's a little bit more than a hurdle.
Yeah, maybe.
Did you guys give them money for like hired help or something?
No, I sent them away with a parting gift, though.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're independently wealthy.
Actually, I had a thought. If
Here
you're-
we go.
I'm going to ask you a favor, Tren.
Here we go.
Your friend is a silver dragon, quite powerful and impressive in many ways.
Yes, she is.
Perhaps this silver dragon could be convinced to escort our friends in the direction of the fortress. And, if she's inclined, possibly see if there's a magical teleportation circle of some kind inside.
Magical teleportation circle.
She doesn't have to stay for long, but if she finds one and brings it to us, would certainly ease our lives and speed our mission.
Well, I guess I could ask. I don't know if it feels like a big ask because we shared a dance. It's like, oh, we shared a dance. Could you do me a favor?
I'll ask her.
Go, no!
Okay, then you ask her.
Okay, I'm just thinking it through. You don't think through stuff?
I think it's pragmatic to ask her, and whether she says yes or no isn't up to me. But we need her to
Well,
ask.
obviously, it's not up to you. It's not up to me. It's up to her. Maybe we can sell it and make it interesting.
Why?
Or maybe she would just do it for me because she likes me. But that feels like an abuse of our relationship. And we're not even in a relationship yet. Where are we? Well, it's a social relationship, but we're committed. Oh, committed.
Tren, stop.
Sorry, I get
You-
flustered.
When you meet her, and you have your lovely time, at some point, ask her. As a favor to us, outside of whatever it is you hope to accomplish with her.
Kobolds.
Hmm?
Kobolds is what he hopes to accomplish with her.
Stop it! Not kobolds, but if there were kobolds, they'd be adorable.
Couldn't she,
Do kobolds come from eggs?
couldn't she
I
take,
don't know how that would
couldn't
work.
she take any form she pleased, and they would be half dragon no matter what happened?
That's a little vulgar.
I'm confused. What do you mean?
She's ancient and a shapeshifter. She could take the form of a goblin if they so chose.
Yes, but the child would still be half dragon.
Yes, that's what I said.
Oh, right.
I think you guys are getting way ahead of me. Way ahead of me. And now I'm getting stressed out. I'm starting to sweat.
It's secreting everywhere.
He could simply presto the sweat away.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if she's here. She hasn't responded
She's
yet.
actually right behind you.
No, she's not. That's not funny. This pretty,
God damn it.
talented, impressive dragon lady of my dreams is not standing right behind me.
I hope not. She would have heard all those horribly lustful things you were saying about
It's not
her.
lustful, it's affectionate.
Making kobolds with her is pretty lustful.
I wasn't talking about making kobolds.
When you said that you would make an adorable kobold.
If it happened.
As we walk back towards the tavern.
Tren trying his best not to
So-
turn around.
At the Bard's Tale, you find Godric and Burrup are both down in the common room. Burrup's gathered all of your supplies and adventuring gear and everything that you might need to take back with you to Eredor.
You didn't arm wrestle him, did you?
No, I haven't got that far yet.
Good. He might
He's
not,
afraid of me.
Why?
Won't do it.
might not quite be as strong as you, but hobgoblins have bugbears. Apologies, Burrup.
Hobgoblins.
Apologies. Bugbears
Does
have
he insult you often?
incredibly long arms.
I
Yes.
already stained the floor.
He's getting better at least.
No. You haven't known him as long as I have.
That's true. He's gonna have...
It's the same old tired jokes over and over again. Like
How about-
barely know her and so on and so forth.
That sounds better in Elven.
Yeah, it does. That's true. The common butchers the joke. By the way, it's the same one every time.
You know,
Like a
hop.
broken record.
Yes.
Beating a dead horse.
No, he's afraid of my technique. I told him it's impeccable.
Yes, bugbears have incredibly long arms. The
It's
leverage
true,
is just
leverage.
unbeatable.
You're trying to poke fun at me, though.
No,
Or
it's-
not. What is that? You're
No, if I
trying
was
to-
poking fun at you, I'd tell you to arm wrestle Nisha. You see the fox just on the floor
Well,
and looks
that's
up.
just rude.
I know.
Godric would never recover.
I definitely
never
feel
liked-
like I've seen the look of the fox's eyes. It would win. It's a vicious murderer.
Truly.
You two been talking?
No, I just see it in her eyes.
They've been talking?
Seems like they may have been. Misha, you're going to stay away from Godric, all right?
Burrup winks at you. Oh, well, do you want me to take this ahead to the Waystone and wait for you there?
Yes, I will. I don't really have anything else to do, I think.
I don't believe so.
You woke Katerina at some point and let her know what we're doing, right?
Well, she should already be headed there.
Oh, okay.
She went and took care of some, she said, private things, and then, I don't know.
She was inquiring about the brothels.
No, she wasn't.
Yes, she was.
No, she wasn't.
Aren't there even
No, she
brothels
wasn't.
in the city?
Yes. Well, they're different.
Burrup, how are we ever going to get back at him when you tell him the truth?
Honestly, thought
We
elves
never
were a
lied to
little
each
bit
other.
above all of that.
It's different. It's more of a...
Honesty means something different to me than you, I think. Use it all the time, but I don't think you know what it means.
Instead of a brothel, it's usually a temple to the elven goddess of love and beauty. It's more of like a holy bathhouse.
Or sometimes it's a brothel.
Well, it's still sort of a brothel.
Oh, they don't have sex there. They make love or something. Is that it?
Well, no, they make kobolds.
Stop
Burrup just
it!
starts laughing, even though he doesn't know the joke. Yeah. Nice.
Right. To
So you're
Eredor.
To Eredor!
Wow, Ulthion's walking faster than you guys for once.
Yeah.
He's on his way.
I'm
The,
gonna
the clickety-clack of his metal feet on the stone.
I'm gonna lean over as we're walking and
Excellent tap dance.
and tap
Yeah.
lock.
Excellent.
You think they're going to ask for our weapons?
I don't care.
Huh?
But yes, they will.
They're going to for sure. You won't be able to leave the market area with them.
So, into the bag of holding. Go on. Let's get it out of the way.
Elves aren't stupid. It's going to mean staves and wands as well.
I look
Staff is
really
already
long
put
and
away.
hard at that bag of holding. Fine. I put the hammer and everything else inside, and then keep Gwendolyn on.
And now
on
it's
my hip.
full.
And now it's full.
Yeah, I put my hammer, my other sword, and that's it.
The bag
I
of holding
threw-
has a zipper.
No, it's just the sound. It's like the sound. It's the sound of breathing.
You know
It's
it's
like,
full.
what? It's a,
You know it's full when the zipper's like.
a rope makes that same kind of zip noise when you pull it,
Okay.
like a braided rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Facts.
To the Waystone.
So, Burrup kind of goes up to the Waystone,
At the mall.
which is this large. There's a set of steps that go up to it, but it's this large circular like pedestal, right? This space, and in it is this, almost this like this obelisk that has all these elven runes on it, and as you get up there, you kind of grab all your stuff and kind of circle around it. And you've gone through one of these before when you went through Aleska from Yoval, this very same Elven Waystone, as a matter of fact. You know that it'll basically just shift you instantaneously from this location to the other Waystone. Much like a teleportation spell or circle does, except far more efficiently and through basically a secure network. So there's no demon mishaps on a 5% chance.
Not even a little demon.
Not
missing?
even a little.
What are the odds it happens again?
Let's find out.
Let's
You should just
find
roll.
out.
If you roll like, I swear, if you roll again, it's ridiculous.
No, 55.
Okay.
Oh, very average.
How
50% better than you rolled last time.
very- Thanks, man.
Couldn't have rolled any higher than 50? What's up? What's going on?
61.
There we go. Much better.
We're improving.
now.
Those
But
are wasted.
since you don't have the sigil sequence in order to access the Waystone and Eredor and the city of Mendrathis, Ulthion's going to have to input it this time.
This is one of my favorite parts. You'll notice this one that looks a lot like those eagles I was talking about. The red feathered ones. Anyway, start with that one.
So you're showing it to me?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to memorize it.
Mendrathis. There. And I'll finish the sigils.
All right. So as you're doing it, these parts are like segmented like a Rubik's cube. So he starts like kind of at the top and works his way down, and when he inputs the correct sigil, it like spins and locks in place and does this rotating all the way to the bottom. And then there's a surge of like magical energy and this low, like sort of magical tone that builds, and then everything just shifts, and you're no longer in Yuval Alari. You find yourself standing in this wide open, very large bazaar and market square filled with, realistically, a lot of elves. A lot of people out shopping, and you do see a variety of other races there as well. You see some humans, some halflings, a few gnomes, some dragonborn, people who've all traveled from, more than likely from Yuval Alari or from Aleska to Eredor, Aleska being a massive trade city as well on the Shattered Coast. It's a very busy space filled with any number of different market stalls and vendors just kind of all vying for business, selling books, selling magic items, potions, whatever it is that you could possibly want. You even see a set of like large carts where there are some displacer beasts and an owl bear kind of locked inside, and people are bidding on purchasing these for whatever they need them for. One of the first thing that draws your eyes, aside from the brilliant architecture, which very much in this section of the city is kind of designed to be a home to those from outside. So a lot of the architecture is very similar to what you'd see in Yuval Alari, but ultimately it's a little bit different. Still elven in nature. There's trees and a great deal of grass and flower pots and planters just kind of strewn about throughout the market. The Waystone is completely covered, so the area around you is shaded, and there's this almost like a large, I know gazebo's not the exact right word for it, but it's designed the same way the one in Aleska is, so you don't have to stand in like the direct sunlight, and you can come out and let your body adjust to the new area. There's like a wafting of pleasant sounds and harmony that just kind of settle into you as this very calming tone, and there's this just absolute plethora of just pleasant smells like fresh fruits and oranges and spices that just kind of roll through the air. And it is a pleasant temperature, a very like early-ish kind of September fall temperature in like the 70s or so, maybe the mid 70s. And this is all magically designed to be this way, to be absolutely pleasant and the best it possibly can all year round. And just like Yuval Alari, you suppose that they can probably change the seasons whenever they feel like it. So, a few guards kind of come up. They're dressed in gold armor. All of it is very similar to what Ulthion has been wearing. These crimson capes, basically. They have these closed helms and these very, I guess I'll just say very Weta-looking helms, like the High Elves in the Lord of the Rings. The armor is very similar. These large stabbed glaive weapons. Not carrying any shields, but about 4 of them come up, and one of them comes straight to you. You recognize his rank. He's like a sergeant. He says, "Well, Master, welcome back to Mendrathis.
Thank you.
You bring outsiders with you into the city?
Yes, these are my compatriots.
Will they be staying within the foreigner quarter, or will they be going to a private estate?
Regretfully, they're going to join me at my private estate.
Ah. Right. Well, we'd be more than willing to take over control of the weapons at the gate leaving the foreign quarter and store them there at the guardhouse in the bastion.
Yes, our mage has made it quite convenient for you. Let's put them all inside a bag.
I assume that you can explain to the mage the nature of the laws surrounding magic in regards to what's casting and what's not to be cast within city limits?
Right.
Sure, it's free and open.
Yes. Yes, free and open to elves. Congratulations.
Oh, maybe I used to be an elf.
Yes, well, you're not now.
Alright. Well, your business is your own. Feel free to enter the city.
Thank you, Sergeant. Your service is always welcome.
Yes. Alatrari's blessings. And they kind of just step aside off the road, and you guys are free to enter the bazaar in the market.
I pull out I pull Gwendolyn out and hand it to you. I didn't put it in the bag.
Don't talk that. It's not mine.
They'll take it at the gate when we leave this district.
Fine. Make me carry other things again, Godric. It's not funny.
Just make sure you get the receipt.
It's in
What?
the bag.
It was
No,
a
it's in
little
the box.
intense.
What?
Not as bad as
No.
I thought it would be.
When they
The
take it.
teleportation, or
The greeting.
yes, well, it's always been busy here, but it's really busy now.
I mean,
They've
yeah,
opened up to trade.
yeah, look at those displacer beasts. There's like three of them, two, four of them.
Probably,
I don't know. There's a bunch.
probably just one per cage.
Hmm.
Don't count the beast, count the cage.
You think they have any cute little baby displacer beasts?
No.
So,
Gonna have one.
as you guys kind of exit the waystone and enter the market, and the sun kind of greets you, and you have to kind of raise your hands to block it, you're basically greeted by these shining, massive elfstone walls of like white stone and emerald ivy that kind of just grows up alongside of them. These massive sweeping banners adorned with the symbol of Alatrari and the shining sun of the blood elves. Kind of beyond, looming over the city in the center, above the walls, you can see this massive domed building and several smaller temples, larger structures nearby, kind of just next to it. As you kind of walk through the market towards the gate that leads out, you see that there's an extremely reinforced gate. It's tall, it's heavy, it's most likely built of pure adamantine. And where you meet a couple of the guards and they ask you to relinquish your weapons so that they can hold on to them for you.
All right now. So we give them weapons.
I pull Gwendolyn in sheath and everything. Gonna hand it over. Everything else is in the bag to hold it.
Okay.
Well,
Wait, did you say you handed Gwendolyn over?
I didn't put it in the bag.
But you're handing it to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
So he kind of elf just goes between you. He's like, all right, staves, wands, hidden daggers, magical swords, anything capable of casting a fireball or offensive magic.
Well,
Going
here's,
to us, please.
here's my dagger. Here's my hidden dagger. Here's Lady Luck. Be careful with that. That's an antique. And then
He grabs it and looks at it.
here's Tiny Dancer, and you'll see how it's crafted. That's specifically mine. Don't get mixed up with the other daggers. It's very important to me.
Yes. We'll keep them all separated. They'll be protected and be stored in the magical vault,
Oh, now I gotta
along with
start
everybody else's weapons.
Well,
You may
that's-
pick them up as you go past through the merchant quarter. As foreigners, they're free to be carried within this district, but nowhere else.
Do I have to take my clothes off? Like, this is pretty, but it'll just blind people. Is that offensive? It's kind of offensive. Is that defensive?
Keep the cloak, it's fine.
No, offensive, not offensive.
Yes.
Yes.
But there's everything I have offensive on me, besides
If we were to stop at everything that was offensive, we'd have to ask you to shower before you walked through the gates, but we're not doing that.
Oh, am I still sweaty?
I was mostly referring to Cimmerian friends here. I'm quite familiar with your lack of hygiene and your people's
You can blame that on
plans.
him.
He just looks ashy because he's fire
He's prevented me from a bath
Either way,
twice.
so
That's
they
how they
gather up
look.
they gather up all your weapons and there's kind of Lawmaster, and they'll bow to you.
He's sitting there.
Right, thank you.
Mm.
We'll head to my home first. Well, my house first.
I'm excited to see where you live. Oh, you made your wife? Is your kid there?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
I have an estate outside of the city,
Fancy.
right? But here in the city, which is where we're going, we also have a home, a house, town home, really.
Wow.
Or,
So you're like rich?
well, no, well, sort of.
Is it because you're old? Is it like a compounding interest thing?
So that's funny, but no, here's the deal. I'm a lawmaster. It's not, we aren't a dime a dozen. There's very few of us. Very few.
If you're a lawmaster, why do you break laws so much?
I have not broken an Elven law once.
It's only illegal if you do bad things to elves.
Pretty much. On the way, I can show you a little bit of a tour, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Some things. We won't really be able to see it till later, but there is the Library of Ulthion. We'll be going there for sure.
He points to like the large kind of tallish semi-domed building that's like next to the much larger one in the center of the city.
What?
What was that library called again?
The Library of Ulthion?
I know why you're doing this, and I'm laughing.
Okay. As long as you know why.
I heard it.
Well, it's where the lawmasters hold. Along the way, that's the Temple of Alatrari right there.
It's not it's the second, like the third largest structure in the center of the city.
The capital we'll have to go to at some point as well. Well, I don't know about all of us, but I will.
And he points to the largest structure. It's this massive building. It's basically the center of governance for Eredor, for the entire kingdom. It's where their parliament meets.
Council.
Cool.
Sounds like a bunch of bureaucracy, wouldn't it?
No, not quite. We have a way of doing things around here, and
I'm assuming
Well-
it still takes a few years to come up with ideas, though.
the common saying is, how many blood elves does it take to change a policy? And the answer is, what policy? Why would we change it? It's been working for hundreds of years. Don't touch that.
Oh, that's good.
So it takes a while for things to get done if they haven't had to be done before. Otherwise, we're a well-oiled machine. My home's not entirely huge. Godric, you might have a hard time there. The garden is fantastic, though. Thorup,
Yes, Ulthion.
you want to run off and maybe...
Tell the servants that you're on your way.
Yes.
Sure. All right. We can do it so. Oh, he didn't explain to you, did he not? But he comes from a house of moderate wealth.
No,
and
he just said
influence.
he's really important because he's the elf lawmaster.
Well, that is why he's exceptionally important.
Oh!
It doesn't...
Oh!
Don't get too excited. It's not.
Blood Elven pedigree matters quite a bit. What family you come from.
Very much so.
Well, sometimes it's hard to discern, like, amongst the elves, is he important or is this just part of his hoity-toity elfness. So that it
Ulthion,
offers some clarity.
I'll wait you at the grounds
Yes.
of the home.
Thank you.
He knows what I mean, even if he acts like he doesn't.
It's good to see that you're even talking to him.
Well, we kind of made a little bit of friends. You know, adventuring together. That tends to do that. Either you grow closer or you murder each other.
We still could murder you. If Misha doesn't first.
I don't get what's your fascination with this weird little fox thing.
Apparently, you haven't looked at me eyes.
His kind eyes.
Misha.
Yeah.
Misha has whatever eyes she wants you to see.
Think she's trying to lull me into a false sense of security or something?
Right.
Absolutely.
Now that Burrup
Oh.
isn't here, Misha's just a fox.
That's what I thought.
She's just a fox, Godric.
I think Godric's trying to mess with us. Like he doesn't understand sarcasm or doesn't use sarcasm right.
Godric?
Yeah. Or are you messing with me right now? Either way.
I'm just saying-
Servants!
I'm just saying the fox have eyes of a killer.
I do have
That's all I'm
servants. Yes. I have. I don't know.
Are these
Have you?
these indentured servitude people that, because you saved them, now they work for you?
No,
thing?
no, we don't indenture them in any way. This is completely voluntary, and they'd be provided for whether they did or not. Vast majority of them choose to serve, to help.
Oh, okay, so they serve with no dentures.
Unindentured. I don't know what you're trying
How
to
do you
say.
say that?
They're free peoples who all
They're helping
my
the
estate has
community.
hired.
Yeah. I guess they
Yes,
would.
you save them, so they want to give back to the community, so they start helping.
Trying
Well, I mean, honestly, what else are they
Trent,
going to do if they can't
if
go home?
Godric gets it and you don't, you're probably not listening.
I'm listening. I was just I didn't know these were other servants.
Right. Well, as we get further away from the market, keep in mind we're going to see significantly less
Because you were talking
of
about
anything
like
other than
a
blood elves.
caste system and stuff, so
Well, yes, sort. Well, there's the elves and the non-elves.
oh. I thought it might be more in depth.
No, not quite. They enjoy every freedom that the elves enjoy. They just can't really serve on council or make policy, etc. Some of them take up arms and fight in our military, but most don't. Most are laborers or craftsmen. You'll see.
So you save them, they come here, can't really go home because there is no home to go to, so they get hobbies.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, Ulthion walks you through the city streets. Beyond the market, it becomes fairly obvious that elves are not used to foreigners really at all. You get a lot of awkward and stolen glances from them as they kind of whisper and look and point at you.
Not like romantic story.
You do see a fair amount of what he would describe as the second class, more like. So here and there, you'll see some goblins or some bugbears or a few humans, and they'll be following around a blood elf. It doesn't look like anybody's. There's no palanquins or any signs of like top-down like oppression necessarily per se, but and they all seem to be fairly friendly with another. Most of the time, one of like a blood elf will be standing off to the side having a conversation with another elf, while like per se a bugbear will be negotiating with the market stall vendor and discussing it with him. Outside of the actual merchant district that the Waystone occupies, there are smaller markets with like groves and open gardens, community gardens and such, public parks and spaces with fountains, as well as shrines dedicated to one of the many gods of the Seldarine. They're often heated, so you can see steam coming up from these large pools of water. They'll be sometimes semi-covered or uncovered, surrounded by intricate columns and statues. The streets are lined in a very, very purposeful way to always feel like you're walking in it always feels like you're walking downhill, even if it's obvious that you're not. So there's some sort of like magical enchantments in the streets that ease your bones and ease your muscles moving through the city. Again, these pleasant aromas just kind of waft through the air. You find these beautiful little well-maintained gardens filled with rare wildflowers or rare flowers native to Eredor. You'll find art exhibitions or magic exhibitions on magical theorem just kind of openly happening, people having discussions. Most of the houses that you walk by as you're kind of getting into the areas where people live versus work and play, you find that most of them all have open floor plans on the bottom floor with no doors where you can see them eating or engaging in art and literature or discussion. Ulthion explains that most of the time they'll have second or third stories that you can see that are locked behind doors where they're basically their private lives kind of lay there, but everything else is pretty much open to the public. Much like Yvalari and Ilithir, murder or cases of malfeasance on behalf of people who live within these lands is very, very rare, at least between elves. Most of the crime that happens can be traced back to the foreign district most of the time. You see that there is a large regular amount of cadres of troops wearing various gears and armors, kind of just out and about sections throughout the city. A very large military presence for sure seems to be present within Mendrathis. But eventually you go find your way to this individually walled, small, like acre-and-a-half space with the home, and Ulthion points out that this is his home, and you go up to the gate, and Burrup kind of just opens it. It's a short wall. It's maybe only like a privacy wall, like maybe 10 feet tall at that. So Godric's just kind of, you can see him peering up over and invading the privacy of the home, but it can't really be
It's
helped.
just pure accidental.
So they open up and Burrup's like, well, I told them that you'd be here. They've been missing you, Ulthion.
Yes. Who was here exactly? Just the servants, or?
Well, at this
Probably
time, it seems as though most of them have been sent away to go to their homes and meet with family once again. But our lady Ashrin is here, and our groundskeeper Senev is here as well.
Sure, it's enough. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. What? Good. Yes, we'll make some food. Show them what a true meal of Mendrathis tastes like.
Could I maybe steal a place to clean up? Since apparently I stink still.
Oh no.
I think they were just being rude, honestly, Godric. You bathe more than most of us. But yes, of course, there's a...
I tend to get covered in blood.
There's a pool in the garden. That'd be perfect. What, Trin?
I just realized I should have packed some food. I'm gonna starve to death.
Why? No, you're going to
You don't
enjoy
have real
this.
food here. I know what you were trying to feed me back then. It was disgusting. It was fucking plants and leaves and little stuff on the ground.
Do you guys eat meat?
Yes, we very definitely eat meat.
Oh my god. Alright, we'll be fine.
Is it meat wrapped in plants?
Sometimes, quite often, yes.
Ew.
It's still
Can I have my
delicious
meat without plants?
You can pick off the plants if you'd like to.
Oh, but their juice is getting...
All right, Burrup, make sure Tren eats something you would eat.
I can do that.
Yes! Thank you! Thank you! I kind of walk to Burrup and I grab it. Thank you so much! You're my savior!
I'm sure Lady Asherin will send me to the market to pick up some wild boar from the outlying settlements.
My stomach grumbles.
So, either way, I'll get right on that then.
All right.
Well, I brought most of our stuff in, and the guest rooms are available, and so on and so forth. I'm happy to be home, but I more want to get back to the countryside. I'd like to see my father.
Yes. Well, go as soon as you'd like. Really?
I'll wait for you. We know you'll be heading there.
Right. At some point, yes. Please. You can let Aethwin and Aravelar know that I'm here too.
Yes, apparently
Anxious
they're
to see
not
them.
present in the city.
Well, doesn't surprise me. They'd be back at the estate. Should be right around, I don't know, a little early for harvest time, I think. But still, they'd want to be there. I'll be going to the Bath. Speak to the Council of Ascendia if I have time. Or if they'll see me, I should say.
Well, I would assume they would have time for a lawmaster who brings them information about the very things they sent you out to do.
Right. They've just never been too keen on seeing me at all.
Oh, well, you're not quite one to fall in line when it comes to our rules and customs, Ulthion, you know that.
No, I'm not. But change is important, and it's exactly what Alatrari was changed to thousands of years of elven practice. If they don't see that, I'll make them.
Not necessarily sure by choice, Ulthion.
It's true. Wait, who's been reading the books, me or you?
I read over your shoulder while you read.
All right. Well, I'm proud of you. On your way.
All right. Go off to the market, Trin. I'll make sure to pick up something good for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. This place is much more beautiful now that I know I'm not in a star.
Well, I do recommend that we all get comfortable and stay here while Ulthion handles business. You are not free to wander the city.
No.
Yes, if you're not with me, you can't leave. I should point that out. Also, do keep in mind you're staying at the home of a lawmaster.
What does that mean?
That means it would be very, very...
Don't make the neighbors mad.
Don't
Perfect.
break any rules at all.
I'm gonna go bathe.
Yes. So if you walk through the hall on your left, you'll see a beautiful opening. There's the garden there. Just in the middle of the garden is the pool. It collects the natural rainwaters. So
Gotcha just starts turning and walking away and already stripping clothes off.
See, back in Gwinnett, that would be considered strange.
Yes. I agree.
I do think that Ashrin will be caught off guard, but either way,
Yes,
splash!
she certainly will be. But honestly, she's a lot for Godric to handle.
More than likely.
All right. Well, you guys see Barup, he kind of goes and over to the table, grabs some grabs a bag and a list, writes some stuff on it with a quill, and while you guys are kind of settling in, he then leaves and heads out to this section, this district's like local market. There. So
All right, I'm going to probably leave now.
So Godric's bathing. What do you want to do, Locke, while you're here?
Well, I want to go find a nice. I'm sure his garden has a bench.
Sure.
And bathing.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
I'm kind of watching you.
It's
like,
well, no, I'm laughing because it's in the same area, so I'm bathing in the same area. He's relaxing, so
Mhm.
he's going out.
I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna try and meditate on, everything that kind of happened. Try and get a. Honestly, I'm gonna go back to an old routine, and I'm gonna try and see if I can smash through that barrier in our minds on what happened to us in hell.
Okay.
It's been futile, but I have time. Not much else to do right now.
Gotcha.
Trin, you look
Trin?
suspicious.
I'm not suspicious.
Don't hold it against him, he's a goblin.
Yeah, I think you're getting some of your old habits back sooner than I'd like.
Right, I used the wrong phrase. In common, you look duplicitous.
Well, I just have so many options. Even not being able to leave the house. And I really want to leave the house.
All right, come with me. I said I wanted you to be able to tell some of the tales. I don't know if they'll let you in the chamber, but...
Now imagine my normal portraying myself as someone else, like a like a little elf or something wouldn't work.
There's no reason for you to portray yourself as anything other than who you are.
Well, I meant it just for getting around.
Oh,
That's where I picked up a lot of those skills. Makes getting around pretty easy. But they probably have some weird magic elf powers that make all that stuff not work, especially in those kinds of
no,
places.
even here, I think once you've gotten inside, your illusions and whatnot would work on most people. But
I guess I'll have to rely on just my natural charm.
which you have an abundance of.
Yeah.
Please pay attention to your surroundings and take everything in.
Okay.
I don't know if you find it as beautiful as I do, but it is my home.
Oh no, it's really beautiful. It's just my stomach overtakes my eyes sometimes. So, but now that I know I'm gonna be able to eat, like I was saying, it's much more beautiful now. And not to mention, it's not like I don't have some experience with elves and some elven culture, just not this place specifically.
My culture is going to be a little bit more draconian and ancient, but the language will still work.
Yeah, so kind of like when I'm visiting my uncle and don't do anything wrong or you get hit a lot.
Nobody's going to strike you.
Well, it's like that, but it's like emotional strikes of disapproval from cold stares from blood elves that disapprove.
If an elf, well, if one of my kind raises an eyebrow at you, what's the term he used? You've done fucked up?
Yeah, but your eyebrows are all so high already. Oh, you just did it!
Well, I was testing the theory. Sorry.
What if, is it like an intimidation thing where I raise my eyebrows and it's like a stare off?
No, it's not. We just expect things to be done right here. That's all. This regiment, this...
It doesn't leave a lot of room for learning or expression, does it?
Oh, it leaves plenty of room for expression.
Not if you can't ever make a mistake.
Oh, you can make mistakes. Done right isn't done proper. You can make mistakes and they're forgiven and often overlooked because it's part of learning. You don't think an elf makes a mistake in 500 years of life?
No, you guys
They
are
make
always
more
talking
mistakes
about
than you
how
ever will.
graceful and majestic and superior you are, so I'm talking about like real mistakes, maybe not like slight, minor elven mistakes.
I think they're the same thing.
Alright. Well, I'll be on my best behavior. Am I allowed to say hi to people or should I just...
You should
No.
speak however you want. I
Okay.
think that'll be fine.
This is your home turf. I'm following the rules.
It's just you are a bard and a member of the
Silver Choir?
Silver Choir, yes. So
Yeah. I'm a
So-
prominent figure of my own accord,
Right.
yes.
So you're representing your people as well.
You know, that had all escaped me and all this talk about not screwing up and Godric just destroying your home country.
Yes,
and
I
stuff.
expect that's going to be a problem.
It got very distracting. But yes, I'll go.
All right.
Ulthion,
Yes.
What?
I have a question.
It better be quick.
How do guards or whatever tell the difference between someone like Burrup, who's in your service, and just someone like me, walking around the street?
Well, it's pretty simple. If you're not walking in the presence of another elf, you're in trouble.
Well, Burrup was going to go to the store without an elf.
Yes, he is.
So, how would they know?
Oh, Misha. Well, I'll explain later. Don't leave.
That is messing with you.
Well, Burrup is a bit different. You're a foreigner. You belong in the foreigner's quarter. If you're here, you have to be with an escort.
Even servants? In service?
I feel like you're asking me this question so you can break a rule, and so I'm not going to answer you honestly.
Fine. I'll lie less efficiently, thank you.
If you break the law here, I will never let you back into my home.
Don't worry, I won't go anywhere.
I'm serious. I'll still travel with you, but you will never be able to come back. Ever. I'll invite Godric to great parties with lots of books, but you won't be able to go.
I think that's the point.
So good.
All right, Trin, to the bath. Capital.
Yeah.
I'll just throw the book.
The center of government
Yes.
and bureaucracy. Right.
Might
Oh,
use them
fun,
for
yeah.
something you wouldn't enjoy.
Uh,
I
so
don't know that the entire council will be there, but we'll get to talk to one or two of them.
Good enough.
um, the walk through the city is takes a little bit of time. But ultimately, you do find your way up to what they call more or less like the city center. Unlike most of the human civilizations or other civilizations, there are no real, what you would say, palaces or keeps per se. The elves have fortresses and they're in strategic locations. The city is obviously walled in this 3-ring concentric circle, which leads all the way to the city center that holds their most important offices and their most important like tomes, treasures, and objects, artifacts, and such. The whole city center is more or less just a great park. It blends seamlessly into the architecture, and everything seems to be overgrown or at least purposely tended to a specific way to meet like the aesthetic of like roots growing around pillars and ivy growing up walls. Very specifically tended to the shifting colors of like the elf stone gives it this almost kind of greenish hue that matches the environment. The sun just very particularly comes down through these massive tree branches and all the way down to these uncovered but exceptionally well maintained paths of stone. From there, he leads you into the opening of like this grand, almost like an auditorium. It's not what you would really think of when you think of a parliamentary building in like a human city. It very much matches the kind of aesthetic style and build of like the open forums, like the Greek style that you saw in Alaska in their hall there. But on a much larger scale. This is meant to hold like 100 people or more working and representing the various houses. You do cross paths with maybe a dozen or so different elves and representatives, each of them from different noble homes. They're wearing the on their sashes that kind of hang down from their waist and kind of meet the ground. They all have different house symbols. They're all elven symbols. So not necessarily in the way that you would have heraldry or coats of arms in human lands. It's more like you would think like, like Superman. It's not an S. It's the House of Kal-El. So each one of them is a little different, a little unique. All of them give Ulthion a wide berth of space and pay him respects in slight nods or bows and very humble greetings for the Lawmaster. Obviously, making it extremely obvious that they're greatly respectful for the position and title that he holds within his lands and his home. The chamber is mostly empty. But one of the scribes, or one of the basic level workers who work within the bureaucracy underneath the, I guess, House representatives, or I guess senators technically, would kind of comes over to you, Lawmaster, are you here seeking an audience with the Premier?
Yes, I am, and whoever else might be available from the council.
I will send word then. Some of them are within the city, and I know the Premier is available. We will see if we can convene a special council with who is available. But there are not many here on the grounds today. Nobody was expecting such a sudden emergence of you from beyond the Waygate, the Waystone. I'll be back. And he bows and
Thank you.
leaves.
Your service is an honor.
Thank you. And kind of runs off. It takes about 20 minutes or so for them to gather what looks like a dozen or so House representatives, plus the Premier and it looks like both of the High Clerics of the Seldarine and the Church of,
The High Clerics.
both
So-
of the High Clerics.
Okay.
Elnarel Vasfolas and Vizundra Vas Mendrathis are both there. The Seldarine clergy and the Alatari clergy, along with the Premier himself. Ilbreth Vas Erdualina.
I'll
Erdualina.
whisper to Trin. Premier is basically our executive leader. And then the two high priests here, that's Vizundra. She's basically the spiritual leader of the Seldarine of the entire church. And then Elnaro right there, that's, well, he's in a lot of ways my mentor.
Oh.
So at the center of this wide, like kind of rounding auditorium where you would technically, when you come in, you'd be surrounded, just kind of standing in the middle, and everybody else, all the representatives are up in the stands above you, looking downwards. At the top, there is a very ornate, like elf stone throne with a sword and a banner kind of draped over it. It doesn't at all match the symbol for Alatrari or for the Kingdom of Eredor. And it's draped over it in such a way that you would be unable to sit in it without first removing the banner. And coming down from there is like a small, like stone podium, very, very simple in design, nothing special about it. And a tall, lean, like dark-skinned elf with this black hair and this like tall, like almost ponytail. This male elf kind of walks up to it, and he kind of raises his hand, and everybody else kind of quiets down and takes their seats. And then he speaks and addresses you, Ulthion. Ulthion Amadir, you come back to us from Gwinnett and from the human capitals and the lands. Here now, tell us what information you have gathered on this current state of war and affairs in Gwinnett.
Gwinnett is in turmoil, my Premier. The human lands are besieged on multiple fronts. From the Dragonborn of Mendrathis, a cult of domination as well has spread its fingers in a more subtle way into each and every realm. The elves are, well, some of them are being attacked by creatures capable of damaging mythals. Well, at least that's the story I was given. A Leshen. The vampire aristocracy is moving in southern Mendrathis. I'm not sure if it's as aggressive as it, or if it's more aggressive than usual, but they are in desperate need, and more importantly, there is a sect of the followers of Takesis that are after the dragon orbs, which have resurfaced.
So you hear some kind of murmuring off to the sides between the different House representatives. All in all, again, there's only about 12 of them that have been pulled into Parliament, but some murmuring and some discussion off to the sides.
Their tombs are being hunted for. Ancient dragons of the chromatic origin, those loyal to Tiamat, have been spotted all around Gwinnett and the mainland. Some of the far-reached places like Suon, and some as near as Priat. There was even the sighting of a green dragon who I believe to be the slayer of Bravam in Ilithia.
You get some more discussion off to the sides. And the Premier just raises his hands, and everybody quiets down. So with this news, what is your official recommendation to the council then? Should Eredor send its support abroad, even under such dire threats as the resurfacing of the Dark Elves and the possibility of movement of their fleets, an invasion of our northern territories and islands? Ortholon is preparing its defenses and the Phoenix Gate is being reinforced as we speak. Should we divide our forces between these two theaters of war? In your recommendation?
Great Council, it is my recommendation that we must declare immediate action upon the cult of domination and against the followers of Takesis.
So one of the elves off to the side stands up and the premier recognizes them. It appears as though Fertala Vasglin wishes to speak, and this blonde female elf stands up. So, even if the Metallic Council does not wish to intervene in war with their kin, you insist that we do so. An open declaration of war or some other subterfuge are you suggesting, Lawmaster? And she sits.
Vasglin has always been prudent when needed. And that is a fantastic question. I believe that we must position our troops to reinforce key structures, key nations on Gwinnett. Maybe not an active war of aggression, as we have become used to defending and playing a slower strategy. We could do this to great efficacy amongst the Bravashans, and perhaps even helping with Osmoth against Imrath.
So there's some discussion amongst the other elves, and another elven representative stands up, and you recognize her as Saradel of Adiadark. And how many forces should we dedicate to this reinforcing of these lands? We haven't necessarily even had the best formal requests by the Moon Elves of Ilithir for such assistance.
I think that they rightfully believe that their request would have fallen on deaf ears. It is not our way to interfere in Gwinnett, nor has it been for quite some time. How many of our forces in the grand scheme? I think it's all of them.
So there's some discontent and some mumbling amongst everybody over that. And even the premier himself kind of speaks out. We can't possibly send all of our forces to war while the Drakkar are simply off our shores waiting for such a weakness. There is no such way. We would be wide open to invasion and attack. We would surely lose the Phoenix Gate.
I don't think that, well, with respect, losing the Phoenix Gate is a certainty at some point anyway. The spell devastation is doing exactly what it's supposed to. We're losing our lands, our ancestral home is being swallowed whole. And at some point, the Phoenix Gate won't be a gate anymore. Yes, they could gain a foothold, but how long before the armies of Takesis ally with the Drakkar? Perhaps a surgical strike. It has been hundreds, thousands of years since we've attempted to attack the Drakkar directly. But if we hit them hard, fast, in an attempt to dethrone or destroy Loth, we may be able to fray our own people.
Such matters have been discussed in the past, but such a large-scale invasion would surely overcommit the entirety of our military and forces at our disposal. If we were to lose, we might weaken the Dark Elves enough that we might be in a stalemate for hundreds of years, but not if we're so weak that we can't even defend our own shores against Takesis when she arrives. However, if we maintain our force strength here and become a bastion unto ourselves, then the forces of Takesis and her dragons might break upon our shores after being worn down by years of conflict and open warfare with all the rest of Gwinnett. We could ensure the ability to greatly enhance our magical defenses and our abilities to observe what happens from here.
Premier, I too have pride in the capability of the Blood Elves and our ability to stand fast against the invading armies, whoever they may be. But surely you are not so overcome with bias to think that we could stand against Takesis Reborn.
We did survive invasion in one dragon war. Why not another?
Because we had allies that we no longer have. We need to reforge those alliances.
Again, the question of how much do we commit to war when war hasn't even been truly declared yet?
We commit all of it, with help.
Again, there's just a lot of disagreement. You can hear it in the stands between the representatives. Just a lot of, there's no way that we could. We can't leave ourselves open to the Jakar at our back. They mass fleets as we blah, 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 and so on and so forth. They just continue to murmur those same points over and over again.
While they mutter, I tug on Ulthion's cloak. They may not get the privilege of having war declared on them to begin with. That's just something to keep in mind. War being declared makes things easy. Their enemies aren't going to give them that courtesy.
Council, I beg you recognize Trin Twilight of the Silver Choir.
So the Premier just kind of looks down at you. Speak your piece. You've been officially recognized by this council. Trin Twilight of the Silver Choir.
Oh, yes. As you said, I'm Trin Twilight of the Silver Choir, lore walker. I've been traveling with Ulthion, and I've firsthand taken account of many of these stories that he's relaying to you. And I fear I must advise that your enemies staging themselves in such a way that war would be declared is a courtesy that they will not relay to you or your people. From all my observations, as well as practice and through my connections, it is clear that that is a courtesy they will not extend. And from my understanding of the Dark Elves themselves, that's not how they can conduct themselves. They strike in the night, they use slaves and pair themselves with the musings of demons and devils. It would be nice, and that would make the call easy to make. But I'm afraid that's not going to be the case in this instance. Respectfully.
You seem to have a basic understanding of the issues that befall Eredor. Although, there's no need for the Drakar to declare war. We have been at war for thousands of years at this point. The beginning and end of the War of the Sorrows is more a mark of the beginning and end of the fall of the kingdom of Gondlin more than it is an official end of state of hostilities. We will always consider ourselves at war with our misguided kin until they are folded back under Glorindel's blessings and his guidance, you might say. But either way, we do not disagree that Takesis is a grave threat. We do not disagree that these may be an issue we have to address. The greater question is whether or not the war would take so long as to where we can tend to our own borders and protect ourselves first, or whether or not it is more grave and urgent that we must mobilize our full forces to fight on a front, a battle against enemies that haven't even manifested as a force in which we could fight as of this moment, from as far away as we are from the events of Gwinnett.
I understand, and I appreciate you informing me further of the state of affairs. But with the heroes that we've traveled with, and what they've seen, and what has occurred across the continent in this recent year, there are cities that have been swallowed by hell, and powerful forces at work that I find it hard to have the confidence, given the magnificent levels of chaos and power that are at stake. I would love to be able to say that I had the confidence that you would be able to survive whatever came your way, independent of the rest of the continent, unfortunately. But given what I've heard here today, and this gate, and waning magics, and the challenges that you're already facing, which apparently have you at your limits to an extent, that hell rising to the material plane as a consequence of Takesis, I just don't see a victory on the other side of that.
Look, this goblin claims that Takesis would bring with her the first layer of hell as a fighting force. What does he mean?
You have not
As we
heard-
understand it, her relation is that she's sealed in Avernus and takes place of Queen at the first layer of hell.
Yes.
But ultimately, in order to leave it, it would require a great deal of work on the Cult of Domination's part, and it would pull her, and her alone, to the material plane to do so.
Sure, but she has made one deal already.
But surely Asmodeus would not allow her to commit his forces to open battle and war on the material plane. They are much needed for the ongoing blood war and constant invasions of demons in Beator.
Right. Demons. Like Loth, the Spider Queen.
Yes.
Yes. So if Takesis made a deal not with her jailers, but with the enemies of her jailers, would she not have their armies at her disposal?
I mean, they might, but demons ultimately look for the absolute destruction of the material plane. They're just as much her enemy as they are ours.
A weapon to be used, perhaps?
No. There is no way. I think we underestimate what it is that the Formless One wanted when he waged his war against his brothers and sisters all those thousands of years ago at the creation of the world. From what we understand.
But I think we can't possibly begin to overestimate the pride and arrogance that Takesis would have.
Tiamat would not allow it. It would mean Tiamat's destruction as well as Bahamut's. She is, of course, only her avatar as she was before. If, that is, Takesis is even granted the divine power and favor that she once was, she did fail. We
Right.
must remember this.
All right, and suppose Takesis doesn't rise. Suppose that is still prevented. We still have armies from multiple nations. We still have what appears to be all, if not most, of the chromatic ancient dragons uniting mortals under their banner. That army can sweep Gwinnett. When When did we lose what last vestige we had of understanding our position on in this world? It is our job to protect the weak, to shepherd them. It's what Alatrari would want. It's what Glorindel commanded.
Maybe
What
at
happened
one
when we
time
broke his law?
we saw what happened. He stripped us of our immortality, Ulthion. We are no longer the people we once were. Glorindel does not favor us the way he used to.
And that's supposed to change how? Do you want to be here? Do you want to be existing the day that either Eridor is swallowed or destroyed by the Drakkar? Or the day that we were reunited, redeemed? Or would you rather just fade away and leave it to the next generation?
That very well may be our fate regardless in this matter. Without the protection and divine guidance of the Seldarine, without Glorindel's favor, we've been left to our own devices, stripped of our immortality, to fend for ourselves. Alatrari's creation, the legends around how we became in the positions we are all our own doing. We are on our own. That might be our destiny, to be swept away by time. Not all elves believe that the prophecy was even spoken at the outset of Alatrari's blessed birth by the founders of Eridor in the wake of the War of Sorrows. Not all believe as you do, as your mentor does.
Yes, my mentor who sits on this council.
Yes.
You speak as if you understand the will of Alatrari more than Alatrari's high priest. Is that
I
true?
speak with both of these individuals on a regular basis. They have had strange dreams and portents in themselves of black sails, which you are not the only one connected to the divine will of Alatrari.
That is true.
We are aware and why we are making preparations. We cannot fight a war on two fronts. We must secure our homelands first, our home people. If we go to march in war in Gwinnett and we suffer catastrophic losses, there will be an end much sooner than by that of the spell destruction at the hands of the Drakkar. And then, not only do the people of Gwinnett and the rest of the races of the world have to worry about dragon domination and the tyranny of those ancient beasts, but they have to worry about enslavement and raiding by the Dark Elves from their new ancestral home.
We are not currently at war, as you said, with anyone other than the Drakkar.
Yes.
We do not know how long it will take for the denizens of the this dragon empire resurgent, as it seems. We don't know how long it will take for them to declare open war, which means currently we only have one enemy. Are we going to stand at the gates? Stand with the Phoenix Gate at our back and above its walls? And just continue to let them crash against it? Or we can be proactive. We can destroy the Drakkar before they have a chance to ally with Takesis. And then we can choose where to fight next.
So there's some more murmuring amongst them, and
The Drakkar do have
What's
other
his name?
enemies. They don't only raid here.
And Fatala stands up again. You are asking for a sudden change in doctrine and a victory that's never once happened before. And you've said there's a reason that we have not campaigned directly into Mendrathis in 1,000 years. Because the last military expedition failed. We won several battles, but ultimately failed to make our way to the once lost capital and to Loth's seat of power.
But your key word was in there. You said soul. We do not have to do this alone. We are not alone. I stand here with a goblin. Back at my estate, there is a Goliath, who I truly believe could tear down the Phoenix Gate with his own hands. There's a Warforged back at that same estate. We're not alone. They chose to come here with me. We can find other allies.
Elnarel finally stands, and the Premier recognizes him. And he looks at the goblin. That's all good and fine, Ulthion. How many legions does your Goliath command? How many soldiers and men-at-arms does the goblin commit to war?
Well, with enough work, it could be hundreds of thousands. I've seen what they did when the vampire aristocracy crashed against us in Brayfield. Our group single-handedly turned an ancient vampire lordess and her dragon. We've faced down Revan on our own and survived. Alatrari himself bade his power to save the city of Greencrest. His intervention is the only reason they are still alive. If Alatrari's will is that we stay here, why is he protecting cities in Gwinnett?
Acolytes are well earned, and it's well spoken. But I believe we all have very different interpretations of Alatrari's will and where his power is needed and when it's needed. Other
You say that,
lawmasters
Elnaro.
disagree with you, Ulthion.
Right, but you are my mentor. We may not agree on everything, but a large portion of my doctrine came from you. And you can sit up there and deny that we need to act, do something else?
I do not deny that we need to act. The question is where and when, and do we have the power to? I do wish that our esteemed general would have been able to make session in order to hear these. We should pass on all this information to him, and he will make the decision that is best on behalf of Eredor's armies and where those commitments should be and how much we could commit. All I can say on my behalf and the behalf of the clergy of Alatrari is that if we can get dedicated commitments from these various lands and their peoples to declare war and wage a war, leaving their homelands to the ravages and open to attack by the cult of domination and Emrath at their back, to dedicate legions or troops, battalions, whatever it is, towards an invasion of our homeland, which I find extraordinarily unlikely with events as they are, circumstances as they are, then we could reconsider how much we're willing to contribute. As it stands at this moment, I don't believe either myself, the Premier, have heard anything that makes us believe that we should send our troops to Gwinnett at the moment. We have heard from the Metallic Council, and they briefed us on their peace discussions with the Chromatic Kin. They are willing to fight as soon as the Chromatics bring back Takesis or openly declare war. That is a fighting force that
It's
is
a
powerful
semantic.
enough in itself.
It's a semantic. These dragons can continue to burn town after town without declaring war.
As they have done since the beginning of time in the splitting of the two dragons that created Tiamat and Bahamut. This is not news to us as elves. Even the dwarves have historical records that go back so far to such dates and such events. We do not believe for a moment that the Chromatics are being honest in their dealings with the Metallic Council, and neither do the Metallics. But dragon politics are above and beyond what we understand, and they're free to handle. It does not feel good for anybody to be the stepping stones of such powerful creatures and be helpless against them, but that it always has been. I believe it's time for us to adjourn the council. We will take your words and the testimony of Trin Twilight of the Silver Choir. We shall take such information and pass it on to those who must know. We will make other decisions, and we will have a council session, a full one, with all in attendance brought, and we shall vote and discuss such matters. And he sits, and the Premier turns. It's well spoken. On behalf of everybody, it's well spoken, and we do appreciate the efforts. And we hope to see that you would return our offerings and extensions of peace and commitment to these lands, to their leaders. We don't want to stand idly by, but we can't fight 2 wars against 2 people at the same time. We have not the manpower for it.
And can we show another form of support?
How so?
There is an elf in Ilithir, in Ivolari, Ilyana. Perhaps we could open the city and its libraries to her and her allies.
So,
She is in possession of the dragon orbs.
the Premier turns to look at both the High Clerics of the Seldarine and of Alachari, and they both nod. We can make such amenities available to this Ilyana. We can share resources and knowledge and history, as we do believe that the dragon orbs were in fact forged on our homelands.
I think that is a welcome start. There are other forms of support, communication. With the will of the council, I assume you would like me to continue trying to open these waystones.
Yes, it would definitely allow for resources to travel more easily between our lands and the lands of the human kingdoms and the dwarves. And it would definitely... don't wish to speak strategically about what it is, but having waystones open would make the movement of troops, the flow of troops to Gwinnett much easier than sailing them by ship. Also less dangerous and less prone to being attacked by dragons who might be in the area.
Could make surgical strikes with enough of those waystones activated. Then instead of a years-long campaign or month-long travel, we can strike in a matter of hours and return home.
It's possible. So the Premier turns. This council session is at an end. We shall take all considerations and all information forward. Thank you, Ulthion Amadir. Thank you, Trent Twilight of the Silver Choir, for attending our session.
Yes, and thank you as well.
Alatrari's guidance and protection upon us all, and may the blessing of the Seldarine keep us and our homes from harm. And then the Premier turns and walks away, and they wait for the Premier to exit the top of the stairs at the back around the empty throne, and then everybody else follows suit and leaves. Your mentor, however, speaks to you. Ulthion Amadir, I would like to have words with you at the Temple of Alatrari, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, I as well.
We have much to discuss. In lieu of the portents that we have seen and that other lawmasters have discussed with me.
I would like to know what they have seen. I have news as well, dark news, worth discussing.
Will Trent Twilight of the Silver Choir be coming with you?
I'm welcome to attend. I don't want to impose.
Trent, I would love for you to see where I was taught.
Then, yeah, I'll come.
Trent will be joining me.
All right. I have some business to discuss with the Premier, and then I should be there shortly.
Quick question, Anarl. General Cathan wasn't here because I assume he's gathering at the Phoenix Gate?
That is where he is currently, at the Phoenix Gate. Rallying troops and support, mustering additional forces, and checking the defenses and making sure they're ready.
And has a funeral shrine been built for Bravam?
Bravum's funeral was handled by the Metallic Council in their homelands.
Thank you for your wisdom, and I will see you shortly.
Then he kind of goes up the stairs the same way the Premier did, followed by the other, followed by High Cleric of the Seldarine. Mendrathis.
Friend, let's go.
Ulthion, I didn't realize you were such a rebel.
They're so arrogant, so superior.
It's like they're extreme versions of you.
I take great offense at that. Come on, let's go. Keep up.
Little goblin legs.
So contradictory.
Frustrating. They listen and they hear reason, but at the same time they choose not to act anyway. You notice the difference, right? At each turn in Gwinnett, we would present the same thing, and there they would say, "Where is the proof? Where is the proof?" Not one of them asked me for proof. They trusted my word as lawmaster and still chose not to act.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think about that.
They're so stuck in their ways.
They-
Something will be done, something small as always.
Well, it's like you said, change is very hard for your people. So they're used to things being this certain way, and now they're stagnating. But it's like they don't know what else to do because they said that they tried to invade the Dark Elves once and it failed. And
Yes.
I understand that that's difficult and challenging, but kind of like how we were talking about learning things and making mistakes. Things are gonna fail. That doesn't mean that they're not worth pursuing or not worth trying.
Well,
And I know that's much harder to say with lives at stake.
1,000 years ago is not so long for a lot of us. One generation removed for most. So it's not ancient history that was, it may have been a failure, but it was a tragedy, a devastation. And yet the lesson to be learned was there. It was a soul attack. We took no allies. But we could have.
Yeah,
We just reach out.
I agree. It's not the same. And there's lessons learned. If you don't learn any lessons and you just give up, that really is the failure.
You, by the way, you spoke very well.
Oh, I felt like I was stumbling over my words. They were all up there staring down at me. Made me real nervous.
I don't care about you stumbling over your words.
But
They're patient.
yeah, I wish they could have seen the monsters that Godric and Locke have told us about from Rivergate. Because it doesn't sound like the horrors of hell will be restricted to just there if the worst comes to pass.
Maybe, but they did make a good point. Asmodeus is bound by other rules, other laws. Rising with his queen, it's more a symbolic marriage, but rising with her would be declaring open war on every greater power that existed.
Maybe he doesn't rise with her. Maybe he sends his devils with her as a wedding present or a parting gift.
Maybe, but as they said, the devils are at war with the demons.
There were those dragon monsters that they were making out of the Dragonborn. Remember?
It's
Locke was
true.
telling us about it. I can't
Honestly,
imagine that that's where it starts and ends.
I hadn't thought of that.
But nevertheless, we made our point, and even with that, it probably wouldn't have changed their decision. They seem pretty stuck. Maybe we'll just have to show them how wrong they are.
I don't know. My faith in Alatrari has not wavered, but I do feel directionless.
You know, you said something there that I thought was kind of beautiful in a way, and it almost reminded me of Godric when you were talking about the Elven pantheon and how they were saying how they're not the beings that they once were, so now they can't rise to those standards that were set forth once upon a time. It kind of reminded me how Godric wants to rise and prove his potential. It's like Godric's living out the story that they don't have the guts to.
Interesting.
But I
Not that they don't have the guts to, it's...
They don't have the confidence to. Their reasoning was because they're not pre-divine to be successful, so they don't try.
Maybe. I don't...
I know it's a lot to
We're
extract
stripped of
from just
our
look it up.
immortality.
It's a lot to extract from just one council meeting, but that's just some of the things I was taking away from it is all.
And that wasn't one council meeting. That was the culmination of 100 council meetings. For people who take a long time to do anything according to your mortals, those meetings are pretty short. We talk in circles and say the same things we said 100 years ago. That's just a continuation of an ever-long council.
Well, it just makes me think about how you were saying, don't touch that, it's not broken, why would you mess with it?
Yes.
It kind of feels like stuff is broken, but people are in a little bit denial.
I agree.
With that, the gate you were talking about and the magic waning. As it stands, things are okay, but no matter what, with the passing of time, it sounds like that's gonna fade away and have a negative impact. And what then? If you don't take
Exactly.
action now to make sure that doesn't happen.
We get weaker and weaker.
It reminds me of a creature that's diseased and it needs to be treated. But it goes on its life acting like everything's okay and gets more sick and more sick. But it's okay because it's not really a problem until it's a problem. But then it's too late.
I suppose we share that weakness with the other mortals. Maybe losing our immortality has shifted our point of view imperceptibly.
Maybe. But
Hard to see the big picture when every day you're looking for new portents or evidence that we're under attack.
well, it's okay to be weak. We just have to try. So maybe we can get them to try.
It's okay to be weak when you have friends.
So as you enter the temple, one of the acolytes, you pretty much know your way through the temple. You've been there dozens of times. He directs you to the High Cleric's private chambers. Once outside, it's just a couple of more minutes waiting patiently before the High Cleric arrives and opens the door. When the door opens, there's already somebody inside. Trin recognizes this individual immediately.
What?
This is what you see sitting there at the desk is this olive-screened female tiefling with long hair and this dark purple robe. On the bottom, she has medium-sized horns and this slender tail and this dark cloak, and there's a kind of a light glow to the eyes. And you recognize her as the tiefling Ismina, who warned you about Hizit's machinations in Rivergate. And she stands up, and they close the doors behind you. And the High Cleric looks at you. We have much to discuss about the machinations and whereabouts of Zakisis. Until next Friday.
What? Damn! Deep callback! Raku was alive!